I'm kicking Rob out just for a second. Rob, come back when you get a second. Anyway, point is that, I see some jokers. Here he goes. He's coming back. I see some. I'm just going to ask this question, Rob, before I invite you in, just in case, just so you can hear the question. There are some jokers who are saying that the static gauge pedal, oh, you can replicate it with this, replicate it with that. And my question is, is it really feel like the secret sauce? Obviously, it's a cool pedal to own, especially if you're a big fan of this album. So no matter what, you're going to want to have it in your kit. But what's the deal with that, Rob?
I 100% think it sounds like static gauge. You could, I mean, if you compare this just straight up this note, and then you listen to 138, it's exactly the same. You know what I mean? And what's really cool about this pedal is, as cool as it is as like just a static gauge pedal, it's a really good fuzz pedal. And like, I'm a big Jimi Hendrix fan, and you could get, by upping the attitude knob, just the attitude knob, you could get a really cool, like, it doesn't sound that good through these speakers. Just, I couldn't fit like a huge cabinet in my room, so it's a small cabinet, so you don't get the bass frequencies as much as like a big cab. But
Right.
it sounds really like so like it really gets cool. You could do a lot with it, I think. And even like it has a very I don't know how to play. I was listening to Iggy before, like in the studio, like I want to be a dog.
Iggy?
I want to be a dog, because I was listening to the guitar tone, and I was like, you could totally get this. I don't know the chords.
Dude, it's a really simple song to play. I'm sure
if I listen to it, I'm sure I could live. But you could get all these cool, like very fuzzy garage rocking almost sound from this pedal.
Real quick, Rob, I just want to tell, we have someone tuning in from Romania. It's 4:30 m. Hello, Robert Smith from Romania. We're talking about the static gauge guitar pedal. Thank you for tuning in and joining us.
Static gauge pedal.
Yeah, static gauge. It's got an attitude knob. Austin wants to hear me do my version of Some Kind of Hate a cappella. I'm not going to do it here. You're gonna have to go on my YouTube channel. I once was so enthusiastically interested in recording Some Kind of Hate, but I don't play any instruments, so I actually did an a cappella version of it, and I like did a lot of rearranging, and I'm really proud of that recording. Because sometimes you just feel the music inside of you, and you have no way of expressing it because you don't play any instruments. Terrible feeling. Terrible feeling. So you think, all right, so you're saying that there is no way to imitate, or that are you saying that you can't imitate this pedal? Or it really is a secret sauce pedal?
I wouldn't say that. You can imitate it. It wouldn't be as clear cut as everybody online is bitching about, because these jokers are like, oh, you could do that with any shitty little amp. You could do that, and it's like, if you could do that with any shitty little amp, why don't you? Why don't you? It's nonsense, dude. Like, these people are just complaining to complain. It's a cool thing, and it's really annoying because somebody like me loves the Misfits and is a musician and loves some of the musicianship on those early albums, like Static Age and Heart Business and stuff like that. And the Misfits never do anything for the musician fans, which there are a lot of. It's like Queen, like Brian May does cool stuff with musicians because, he has really cool sounding stuff. Jimi Hendrix has an amplitude where you can emulate his tone if you buy that amp.
Right.
There's all these musicians who do cool stuff for musicians that are fans that you could try to emulate their tones. The Misfits have never done anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, listen, if I played guitar, I would definitely have a static gauge pedal, hands down.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
I mean, it's not even a joke, but I love that there is that they do have an attitude dial.
All the
You
attitude
can tell
dial does is really ups like the trashiness sounding of it. Like it just really
dirty,
distorts.
makes it dirty.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. I like that a lot. That's cool.
I love the pedal. I love the pedal.
So we were talking about, so you showed us the pedal. We were talking about, I did not know that about you. I've known you for a long time and I did not know that you didn't eat meat like that. And I got to say, mad props to you. So what else? So other question, and I don't want to make this about, veggie eating talk all night. We're not, this isn't the Doyle Appreciation Podcast or anything, but what are some other alternatives that you talked about? Portobello burgers. You love, oh, that's what we're talking about. Eggplant. Man, listen, if you're ever at my crib again, however that may happen, you have to try my wife's baba ganoush.
Would love to.
She makes it from scratch. She's, she comes from an Iraqi, Moroccan,
Awesome.
Libyan background. So she really knows her shit. A lot of Moroccan cooking is what I meant to say.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I think you would really I think you would really appreciate the salads and stuff that she sort of makes. What else do you do for food in that kind of way?
I'm trying to think of like stuff that I eat that I eat a lot of fruit. I try not to eat imitation meat because a lot of soy in it. So I try not to do that, but I mean,
Beyond Burgers? No Beyond Burgers?
I like Beyond Burgers. I even like the Dunkin' Donuts Beyond Sausage. Like I enjoy it. Oh, it's actually really good. But the problem is there's so much soy in it and it's not that healthy for you. Like, I try not to. It tastes really good. It tastes really good. But
man, it's like good. You know what we need, Robbie? What we need, and this is what I ultimately want. And I've asked vegans this question. I was like, if you could have meat that was grown in a lab, would you just eat that? Like real meat that was never alive or was never conscious?
Yeah,
like cloned meat. Would you eat that? I would eat that in a heartbeat. That would be the only thing I'd eat.
It's that I see no problem in that. You know what I mean? I see absolutely no problem. Now, are you still doing keto? Because I know you were a keto guy for a while.
So the thing is, I tried to do the keto thing. It's really dangerous if you don't do it perfectly.
Well, the thing is, like, keto is great on paper, but actually it could get very unhealthy.
Oh yeah, it's super dangerous. Like, here's the thing. I was doing it just fine, and I got to tell you, I felt amazing when I was doing it. Like, oh my God, I never felt better in my life. Because I started doing intermittent fasting, which I really love doing a lot. That is like the greatest thing in the world.
I do that as well.
The problem is, if you don't know exactly, like if you're just not doing the keto right, like if you're not eating fat in the right way, if you're not keeping your caloric intake intact, your cholesterol is just going to go through the roof. And the thing is, there are all these books and there's all this dogma out there. Like, dude, cholesterol is nothing to be afraid of. You don't have to be afraid of cholesterol. But try telling that to a doctor, a heart doctor who's been, a heart doctor for 45 years, and they'll just go, yeah, lower your cholesterol immediately. I'm like, but I feel great. He's like, no, your cholesterol is too high. I'm like, fucking hell. So I stopped doing it, man. And I don't know, man. I'm just a sugar junkie right now. I'm just hitting it hard. It's not
what
good.
Kind of sugars you indulge in?
I just like the weird shit, man. Anything that's like weird or bizarre, like from another planet, like, oh, I thought you fainted.
Oops,
oh, it's just your phone. Your phone fainted. Hey, listen, if that's all that happens, I'm okay with that. But yeah, dude, I like here's the thing. Like if I see some weird ass candy, like that's what I'm going for. And the funny thing is, Robbie, I don't have to keep eating the same thing over and over again. I just like to try it once and then I'm good. I just need to see what that thing is all about. So much so that I'm like, well, if I'm going to do this, I might as well try and do like YouTube content about it. So I try to sort of, explore. I try to like make videos about it. Nobody really likes to watch them, but I just, I do my thing.
You're a
So
cereal guy too, no?
I love cereal. Yes, I collect cereal boxes. I love cereal box art. I've always wanted to do some sort of media distribution in cereal box packaging. That's like
That's
my
cool.
goal.
That's cool.
Yeah, love that shit.
I love cereal too. Like I tried something the other day. My girlfriend's mother bought it. It was like those moon pies, but they were cinnamon cereal things. Like it was a
Okay.
cereal, but it was like it's like an old logo. I forget what the name is of the thing, but they were phenomenal. They were cinnamon like moon pie cereal, and I was like, wow. I was like, that was amazing, amazing.
The Dunkin' Donuts cereal is phenomenal. Austin's talking about the Dunkin' Donuts. I've tried both of those. I have 2 review videos about that on the channel.
Oatmeal cookies. All right, my girlfriend just corrected me. It was oatmeal cookie cereal.
Oatmeal cookie cereal. That is interesting.
It was phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal.
That's
Chocolate Delight from Special K. You ever have that?
No, I have not. But here, look,
Oh,
check this out. So Tanner's saying monster cereals for the win. Now, Tanner, I agree. Monster cereals are fun, but they taste like shit. That they do. The cereal tastes like shit. All of them. Even Count Chocula, they all taste bad. Like, you know what's funny? Every Halloween season, I'm like, fuck yes, monster cereals. I bust open the boxes, man. I get them for the kids, the kids. I get them for us, to eat. And I'm like, as soon as I take it home, I take it out of the bag, and I'm just like, why did I buy this? I know it's not good, but it's Halloween, and I like to look at the box and yada yada yada.
You know what was really good? They made it only 1 year. It was a couple years. It was the Fruit Brute. They brought it back, and Fruit Brute I thought was the best one out of all of them.
Fruit Brute's pretty good. Also, I would say Yummy Mummy was pretty
Yummy
good
Mummy
too.
was good.
Yummy Mummy was really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that one as well. So what I do is I actually have I don't know if you've seen this on. Hold on, I'm gonna send myself this link real quick so I can do my little spiel. We're gonna take a little field trip for a second. Hold the phone. We're gonna take a little field trip because I want to show this. There we go. Enter broadcast studio. Oh,
whoa! Staring into infinity right there. Okay, can you hear me?
I could hear you. You're a little broken up. I could hear you.
Excuse the mess. I'm remodeling.
Wow.
There's the Fruit Brute. There's the Yummy Mummy. So I was like, I had to buy all the boxes. These are all eaten. I just stuffed them. And then those are the updated ones.
Oh, beautiful.
So that's the updated Fruit Brute.
Beautiful.
All the way down here. And then I collect cereal boxes.
Wow.
Look at that. Elf cereal.
Oh, that's awesome. What does the Dunkin' taste like?
Oh, like a cup of coffee, but like in the best way ever. Absolutely delicious. Hold on, wait, let me find that. Look at this one. This one was nuts.
Wow.
Sugar cookie pebbles, man.
That's
amazing. Spider-Man. Oh, it's delicious.
Ooh.
This is just a fraction. I have so much more.
Oh, but cinnamon. That's my fave.
Look at this one. Soccer Crunch, dude.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, I had to check that out.
That is awesome.
I had to try that out.
That is awesome. See, the thing is, like, I, especially as a kid, was an insane sugar junkie. But I have diabetes in my family. My grandfather is diabetic. So actually, I was a chubby kid. And around like 13, they told me I was pre-diabetic. So I I still didn't lose weight until I was like, I want to say like 15, 16, I started really like hitting the gym, and I really understood what to eat and what not to eat. My problem was that I didn't know what to eat when I was growing up like a young teen until I was like 15, 16. Then I really like you could see even in pictures like I just dropped an insane amount of weight and healthfully. Like I ate just proper things. But if I wanted to indulge, I could eat so much sugar, dude. It would
Yeah,
just be
dude.
insane.
I
It'd be
gave up. I've
insane.
given up. You know what the problem is? I've given up so many things. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. I used to smoke a pack a day. And it's like, what do I
Wow.
have left? I have food. That's all I got. And rock and roll. Going to shows, jumping in the mosh pit. What back when you can actually do that, you know?
Let me ask you this: how much caffeine do you have a day?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a big one. Coffee, caffeine. I drink a pot of coffee every day, probably.
Really?
Probably.
You know, I for like 2-3 years straight, I was getting more and more into caffeine. Like I would
Yeah.
drink an insane amount of coffee, and
Heart
really, I
palpitation.
got yeah, especially because
Yeah.
when I was trying to cut weight for certain things, I would
Yeah.
take fat burners, which is an insane amount of caffeine.
Oh
And
wow.
so it literally like December of 2018, I was going insane from caffeine. Like literally.
Yeah, it affects your mood. You'll
Um,
you'll you'll get anxiety.
well, I was taking caffeine, and I don't know if you ever heard of this. It's a natural fat burner called yohimbe. Um,
No.
it's a natural. It's an African root. And it's really good for aiding fat loss. And it just so happens that the side effect is you get boners. But it literally another side effect that I didn't know was it just made you insane. Like
Oh
I would
really?
think like I would think the craziest of thoughts. Like I'd be at the gym and I'd be looking at somebody and I'm like I want to kill that motherfucker. Like for no reason at all. So
So you were kind of like you were kind of like Sarah Goldfarb, what's her name? Ellen Bernstein in Requiem for a Dream.
like it
I'm gonna
was
go on
crazy.
television.
So I, since December of 2018, cut out all caffeine. I haven't drank coffee since then. Haven't had a fat burner since then.
Good for
I
you.
stopped it all. I stopped it all, and that was the toughest thing to quit. Meat was easy. Caffeine, you literally the first month after years of having it every day will have to take like a 3 hour nap, 4 hour nap. Like there's no
Yeah.
exaggeration.
I don't know when I'm gonna. I mean, I don't know if
Would you
I'll
ever
ever
cut
get.
back?
I've been drinking coffee since I was 16 years old. I'm 35. I don't know if I've been drinking. I haven't been drinking a thing a day, but I mean a pot a day. But I used to drink those energy drinks, those Monster drinks. Like when it first
Those,
came out,
those are
I was like,
insane, dude.
"Yeah, Monster, this rules." And
Dude,
then I'd stay up all night. I thought I was having a heart attack. I just had to
dude,
stop it. I had to
on
cut it
tour,
out.
like we would stop at like a gas station and there'd be like in a dollar for $1, it'd be like no
Right.
snooze pills. You just take a
Oh,
no
oh, oh,
snooze pill
oh
and
my
you're good.
God.
You,
See,
you down that with a Red Bull and you're set the entire night.
you
Yeah.
know what the trick is? You want to get, first of all, there's a really good energy drink out there. There are two that I swear by now that I will drink even to this day. The trick is it's all caffeine with zero sugar. One of them's called Rain. It's spelled REING, like rain, like I'm ruling over you. And the
Uh-huh.
other one's called Bang, but Bang has creatine in it, which is not good.
No, creatine is okay. Creatine,
Well,
especially
if you're
for
working
lifting.
out,
Oh
if
yeah,
you're
yeah, yeah.
working out, I mean, if I'm not working out and I'm
You're just gonna
housing
gain
cans of
mad water weight.
Bang, just getting bitch tits like a motherfucker.
Yeah,
I mean, like, honey, can I borrow your bra for a minute? Because creatine here.
yeah,
But they taste really good. They're good. They taste good. It's
I
good
enjoyed
stuff.
Monster, the sugar-free ones, and like the tea when I did drink that.
That is the secret. If it's sugar free, you're not going to crash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, I got to tell you, after I turned 30, like I'm like watching horror movies. My wife and my children are asleep. I'm watching horror movies, eating candy at like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And if I eat too much sugar, I will pass out. Like I just fucking
Really?
I just conk the fuck
How
out.
was your sugar? I know this is starting to sound like an old like health show, but like, how was your sugar?
What do you mean? Like my levels?
You ever check your sugar level?
Nah. Well, here's the thing.
That's something I would check out, man.
So here's the thing, Robbie. In 2014, I completely went off sugar, like for the entire year. And it was amazing. I shed so much weight. You wouldn't believe how much weight just from cutting out sugar. I didn't do anything else. And I didn't even fully cut out the sugar. I just lowered it. And because what happened was when I quit smoking, I used to be $140.
That's a huge. Oh, wow.
Yeah. I used to be $140. I quit smoking and now I look like this. But
you look like a healthy weight right now.
Yeah, a lot of people have said that too. I mean, I looked like an anorexic, skinny little fuck when I was, smoking. But like, I don't know. There's just, it's a point. My point is that when I cut the sugar out, I felt really great. I felt really healthy. It was awesome. I liked doing it. I would still indulge a little bit. I would just eat things I wasn't completely cutting out sugar to like the point that it's non-existent. It's just to eat as little sugar as possible.
Got it.
So like, that left a little room. But what happens is the moment you go back, the moment I went back and like, it was like New Year's. I'm like, I'm gonna have a candy bar. Fuck this shit. And I had a candy bar. That was the end of me. That was it. And I've been trying to get back there. And I have these periods where I go completely off sugar and I feel really good. And I know it's funny. My they say that like your stomach is a second brain in your body. Your gut, like the bacteria in your gut release chemicals that go straight to your brain and tell you, feed us this, feed us that. So if you eat a lot of vegetables, your brain, your gut is going to send you messages to your brain saying more vegetables, more vegetables. If you eat sugar, then you're only going to create sugar eating bacteria. And then they release chemicals and enzymes or however that science stuff works. That goes to your brain. And then you're like, I need, fat, salt, and, sugar.
Actually, speaking of bacteria in your gut, is if you look at the music video you shot for me, No Love, and then you look 4 months later at Ripped Heart, I lost about 15 pounds between them. I'd say even 20, but because of diet soda. I would drink an ungodly amount of diet soda every single day.
Diet Coke?
I could have at least 6, 7 a day.
You're like my brother. That's an addiction, dude. Diet Coke is like
it was.
A big thing.
That was actually a huge thing that I had to kick, and I did kick it. And I lost easily when that first time I stopped drinking completely, at least 20 pounds. At least 15, 20 pounds. It's because
really, it reinforces you too to like want to
Well, I was watching on the Joe Rogan podcast. He has this Dr. Rhonda Patrick, I think is her name. She's a really good fitness doctor. And she was explaining like the aspartame in soda actually puts on gut fat because it messes with the bacteria in your gut. I don't understand the science behind it, but some of the aspartame tricks your stomach into having more fat. And I straight up noticed it when I quit it. Dude, if I wanted to, I could have at least 10 diet sodas a day. But I
like Diet Coke. I don't have that problem with Diet Coke, but I have that problem with
I don't drink it. I can't.
Dude,
I can't. 'Cause if I have one, I'll have 10.
Hard candy is like my worst problem. It's like my Achilles heel.
What kind?
Just everything, bro. I love jelly beans. I love jelly bellies. I love, you know what I love? I love the now and laters, the chewy now and laters. Like they're kind of like everything that's in a 7-Eleven, bro. Like, and like I said, if it's a weird flavoring of like cotton candy flavored this or sugar cookie flavored that, I'm like,
what my favorite candy is? The bottle caps, what? The Willy Wonka bottle caps.
Love them.
Oh, they're so good. They're so good.
You know what the problem is too with bottle caps and like other candies? It's like when you first open the bag, you kind of savor them. You like suck on them, savor them, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But then as you get to the bottom of the box or the bag or whatever, you're just like, you're just popping them in like popcorn. It's just senseless eating. You're not enjoying. It's just pure cretinism. Like you're just not even enjoying it. It's a terrible.
Since you're a sweet guy, do you drink Sonic slushies with the nerds and stuff in them?
No, I used to be a Slurpee aficionado, and I've stopped drinking all drinks like that. The only thing I drink, it's funny, when I did that no sugar thing for New Year's on 2014, and I'm preparing to do it again for 2021. That's when I switched to drinking seltzer, and I have been a seltzeraholic for the last.
It's the best thing for you.
7 years. Oh my God, love it, love it, dude. Oh, you got the AHA ginger apple. Nice.
Yeah. Oh, it's my favorite flavor.
Nice. I like the I like the blueberry one, and I like the grapefruit one from the AHA.
I'm not a grapefruit guy. I'm not a grapefruit guy.
Oh, see, I am. Oh man, I'm a sucker for grapefruit.
It's just bitter to me. It's bitter.
Robert says he quit smoking 5 months ago, and now he's a fat fuck. You know what? Congratulations to you, Robert.
That's great,
That's
man.
Awesome. You know what? Here's the other thing. This is what someone said to me when I quit smoking. And it was one of the hardest things I ever did was quit smoking. He said, we can replace your teeth. We can't replace your lungs. When I was talking about how much sugar I was consuming to like feed the cravings from cigarettes. And it's true, man. You can replace all your teeth. I wouldn't want to, but you can if you really have to. So listen, I think we've talked about health food enough. Let's talk about something a little bit more interesting. I want to double back on the Misfits for just a second. Tell me first of all, you got a show coming up with Mr. Jim. What's going on with that?
So we were supposed to do that in April of 2019. April of 2020. I'm sorry, and it was for my birthday, but COVID killed that. So we rescheduled it for January. I'm a little nervous flying down, but I'm not. My grandparents flew down to Florida because they have a apartment in Naples, Florida, and they said they're older, and they said there was nobody in between them. There was nobody even on the plane, so they got moved up. So that makes me a little more, because I'm very careful. I live with my grandparents on my father's side, so I try not to be exposed to anything. But I'm gonna be cautious going down there, and it should be a really good show. We have a really fun set list of originals, Static Age songs, and then a couple other covers from bands that wouldn't really be expected. And yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That's awesome, man. And wow, so you're playing with Mr. Jim. I mean, that must be pretty cool. That must feel pretty great.
Mr. Jim is the coolest misfit, in my opinion. He's the coolest dude.
He's a humble dude. He's a good guy.
I've met, I think, every single misfit aside from the like maybe Brain Damage or something like that. But every main misfit that's been on an album I've met, and Jim is the nicest and coolest dude. He has no rock star personality. He's just a good guy. You know what I mean? Like,
what's he doing in Florida? Did he open up another rental spot?
No. He goes there for the winter. I think he's a snowbird. He don't want to deal with the winter.
Snowbird. That's so funny, dude. I thought he was down because I had to cancel. I was supposed to shoot for this band called Wolfface, who, if you don't know about them, check them out. Great band. I was hired to shoot a commercial for Liquid Death drinking water, which is like it's like water. It's like water in a tall boy can, and it's this company, and they sponsor those guys. So they were flying me down to shoot this commercial, and I was going to meet up with Jim. I was going to like try and get him to be in this thing just for a second, just because I thought that would be so funny. Just like, Mr. Jim, just like sitting by the bar with his Liquid Death mountain water. But then COVID happened. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Yeah, it sucks, man. This COVID has really put a damper on everything.
Speaking of misfit drummers, Austin Smith says, Dr. Chud is very humble as well. Uncle Jeff, please do a little bit of a Chud impression. That I'm willing to do, so I'm going to do that right now. And I don't even really do it that well. I think, you know, in
Loki
truth,
does it well.
Loki does it well. And, you know, I was reminded that, you know, my impression really is monkeying Tracy Bird, TB from Blitz Kid's impression, though. Bro,
Who
you know, it's a little,
who does it best is Peter from Vigor. He does the best.
I've never heard him do that.
Oh,
but
he's
if we're
got the
talking
best
about
one.
the best, look, if we're
It's
talking about
Peter.
the best, it's Loki. Loki is hands
telling you.
down. Loki goes, there's just something about the way he just goes, hey, bro. It's just it's so funny, dude. Like I can laugh about that all freaking day. Just like, hey, bro.
I think Peter is the best storyteller I've ever met, and he can just do Chud's impersonation. Like nobody's business. It's just so spot on. But Loki does a great one as well.
Loki does a great one. You've seen it all. You know all the way. I don't know. I know Sal somewhat, but you've spent way more time with them than I think I have. So
unfortunately,
that's a good way to put it. we wish I wish Sal the best though. I think we both do. We tip our hat to Sal.
Yeah,
and, you know,
no problem. Sal.
He could go do his thing. One thing I wanted to ask you, someone that you've met that I've never met, someone mentioned, Robert mentions Googie still making music. You hung out with Googie one night.
Yeah, he was very cool. He was just like this super New York guy, like a New York stoner. Yeah. That's the best way you could.
Just seems like such a character.
See, he was very nice when I met him. He's in a band. God damn, what the hell?
The Noise.
Name? The Noise. And they're just a fun punk rock band, like us older dudes just having fun, and they were fun to watch. You know what I mean? I actually went up. He invited me up to sing Bullet. So I sang Bullet with them, and I sang
fun.
Attitude. Yeah, they're cool. He was a very nice guy. He was just a typical New York stoner old dude. You know what I mean? He was cool. I cannot imagine him with like Glenn and whatnot. I cannot do it.
Well, we know that they were definitely oil and water, and probably for
just the personalities, dude. The personalities. Just like I can't imagine even like. I guess Mr. Jim goes with the flow, and I don't really know how Frank is, and especially back then, but it's just such a weird concept thinking of like all the different members and how they all. Like, I can't imagine Murph with the Misfits. Absolutely not.
Yes, that is. Murph is a very interesting breed of character, and it's hard to imagine. And you know what? It really is. I think it's also a testament to, not to take away from any of these guys, but it's a testament to how much of a commodity, drummers are and were, because those guys can never. And I said this the other week, the other year or something, the other month, that if either Eerie Von or Steve Zing or a combination of both had taken over after Robo, that the band would have been stabilized. And the reason why is because both Steve and Eerie are good friends with Doyle, which would have better. And they're both had a relationship with Glenn. And I think the combination of that would have all made everything. And I'm sure Jerry would have gotten along with either one of them just fine. So I feel like they would have gone to Germany. One of those guys would have gone to Germany with them, and they would have, gone on, maybe put out another album. Who knows?
I would have loved to have heard Steve with, this is no disrespect to Eerie, but I think Steve is just a way better drummer. Just from listening and whatnot. I guess there's more material from Steve as well, but like hearing Steve play those songs would have been really, really interesting.
He's got the chops, man. He has the Earth AD chops.
But even I think he would do really well, like Jim fills, and even Joey Image style stuff. He would do really well.
He would have paid attention to the details in the drumming,
which a lot of those drummers didn't.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's the problem, but that's the other thing too, is that and that's what I said, we've already we're retreading an old conversation that we had, but I'm just going to say it here before we move on. That's my problem with Dave Lombardo, is that he's like a machine. He just plays everything like it's like he's a robot pretending to be a human being. Like,
what do you think of AC Slate up there?
I think he's fine. Doesn't bother me. No, I mean, just sort of the only thing listen, I don't know him at all. Like super happy that he has that gig and he seems like a really nice guy. However, I mean, like if you're going to have a second guitar player and, again, really a shame that those guys all hate each other and can't get along. But like, I mean, why not have Bobby Steele like doing, leads and have Doyle up front doing, his Doyle thing. And then you have Bobby Steele off in the back in the wings, just sort of like, doing all the little flourishes and touches. But the thing is, and some people have disagreed with me. I know Tanner doesn't agree with this statement. I don't know how Bobby would handle the Earth AD material. I don't know if he would play it, like what that would sound like. I don't know if it would be good. I don't know if he would. I don't know.
You don't want the leather bear French Coma playing guitar up there? His nice, with the little Rob Halford hat and stuff.
With the biker outfit. That would be interesting. That would definitely be interesting.
It would be cool if they brought out like different eras throughout the set, even if it was just a one-time show. That's like if they did it for the New York.
Dude, that's what they should do. Just a special set for New York. Bring out each guitarist. Obviously forget about the drummers. You keep the same drummer, but you bring out each guitarist for a couple of songs. That'd be cool. You know what I mean? You can even have Doyle there the whole time. You could have Doyle there the whole time. Just bring out Franche Coma for Static Age songs. Bring out Bobby.
That'd be really cool.
I mean, in an ideal world where these guys can all like sort of, get along. And of course, we'll get Dez Cadena for the Death Ray. I'm sure Glenn will be happy about that. Who knows?
Dez was like, he didn't fit in the band, but he was a really cool guy. I don't know if you ever met Dez.
I never met Dez. I think Dez is a great guy.
Super nice. Dude,
he don't fit in the band.
He doesn't fit. The green makeup was just terrible.
Neither did Marky Ramone. Like it was just what a weird.
I actually think Marky Ramone was the worst Misfits drummer, even above Robo. Really? There was a video of him playing Helena. There was a sound check. It used to be on YouTube. And it was the worst thing ever because he's just playing Ramones beats over like Misfit songs, and it did.
Yeah,
not
I always
fit.
wondered, did he learn the parts for like Black?
I don't think
songs?
he did. I don't think he did. And like Marky's a great drummer, so I don't understand why he couldn't just fit
drummer.
In.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
That's interesting.
It just did not fit. Speaking of Marky, I was watching. I don't know if you watched Howard Stern. But somebody's been re-uploading
the Marky Joey thing.
Calling him
that's a classic bit.
Calling him a dry drunk. It's the funniest.
Dude,
and Howard just egging it on.
Yep,
egging it on.
Listen, I was getting dropped off in 3rd grade to school, and my dad. I've been listening to Howard Stern since I could walk because of my father. I mean, that's not true, actually, because as an adult, I don't listen to Howard as much as I did when I was a child. I grew up on Howard Stern because my father is a diehard Howard fan. And someone's a Howard fan because they don't say Howard Stern. They say, "Oh, did you hear on Howard?" Everybody knows Howard by his first name. If you see someone say, "Oh, do you listen to Howard Stern?" as opposed to Howard, "Hey, Howard," it's like this relationship. It's the same thing with like Kevin Smith and Smodcast. Did you hear Kevin talking on Smodcast? It's like one of those sort of situations. So that's like that is like such a what's it called? It's such a staple. It's such a wonderful staple. But it's funny that you bring up Marky Ramone because there is something that I've been wanting to sort of dissect, and I figured we would give it a try. I don't know if you want to try this. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
There was so here's what happened in 2019. There was a punk documentary called Jesus, what was it called? I think it was just called Punk. It was produced by Iggy Pop. It was for the Epics channel. It was a very good documentary. I really enjoyed it, except they didn't have any Misfits in it. But that's okay. I'll give them all the misfits. I'll give everybody the misfits that they want. The
That drives me bananas.
Minus Glenn, Jerry, and Doyle, of course. But they had they did a panel. It was like some sort of panel or premiere or something. They had a bunch of old punk rockers up there. You had Johnny Rotten, you had Marky Ramone, you had, and then this was really weird. You had John Varvatos, which I thought was kind of whack. I'm just kind of
They
like,
had what's his name from Guns N' Roses too, right?
Duff, who I guess
Duff.
He has a punk rock background.
Did Attitude?
Yeah, they did Attitude because of Duff, but it's just kind of like, I just kind of like feel like what is Duff doing there? And of course you have Henry Rollins. It wouldn't be a punk.
And what's her name from L7 was there?
Right. The girl, I forget her name. I don't know her name, but she was there. And of course, Henry Rollins will go to like the opening of a punk envelope. Okay. That guy loves, or is a part, he's synonymous with it. And again, huge, that's another guy, besides Howard Stern, besides Joe Rogan, besides Kevin Smith. I can listen to Henry Rollins all day. I've seen him live a couple times. Really great guy. Fascinating gentleman, truly. If you haven't listened to Get in the Van, check that out. But of course he was there because it wouldn't be a punk thing without Henry Rollins. So, and a fight breaks out between Marky and Johnny, and I haven't seen it in over a year, and I kind of want to unpack it. I want to take a look at it. And since I have you here with me, Rob, let's take a look. Let's see. Let's take a look at this thing. Hold on, just getting the audio, so we should be able to see the audio here. Okay, you can see this, right, Rob?
Yep, I can see it.
Let me see. Whoa, no. Oh, that's what we want. Okay. All right. Let's play. Let's play a little bit of this. See what they're talking about. It's a very. We're going to try and break this down as it's happening. Let's just see. We'll watch a little bit of it. So here's Johnny Rotten, and he's just like.
Is there any way to turn the audio up a little bit?
I'm sorry?
Is there any way to turn the audio up a little bit?
That's as loud as it goes.
Okay.
Do you hear it?
It's very faint. It's okay. Just let it go.
So basically what's going on is Johnny Ramone is taking a hold of the microphone, and he's just, making everybody laugh and trying to be a sensationalist. And if you could kind of see here that, Marky Ramone is kind of like rolling his eyes. Henry Rollins is just like eating it up, right? He's just like, eating up the situation. And Duff is just like, what am I doing here? What's going on? He's just such an attention whore.
Is he drunk?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Marky completely. Yeah, Duff does like to tell everybody that he's into punk. That's exactly right. Hit it on the head, Robert. And he's you know what he's doing? He's just taking everybody hostage. That's what you call a hostage taker.
It's obnoxious. Why do you have to hog the mic like that?
I don't know, man, but it's just like that. That's a hostage taker where you take everybody hostage and they all got to listen to you. And, freaking, attention's on me. Ridiculous. Time you've got reggae running around there, Rastafari and Natty Drake. And the funny thing here is, Rob, that like he's, on one hand you're like, oh, we got to like sit back and give him respect because he's like, put out, this seminal album. We can talk all we want about how much the Sex Pistols are posers, you know, and how
I
they're a
don't think
boy
they're.
band.
You're not gonna get a very good answer out of me when it comes to anything Sex Pistols.
Right, but what I'm saying is right. So you agree with me that they're kind of like, you know, that they're posers, that they're just, you
Of
know,
course,
sort of.
they're garbage. I don't think they're important to punk music. I think they actually are what punk rock shouldn't be. I have never had a ridiculous Liberty Spikes mohawk or a stupid UK flag ripped up T-shirt. Yeah, I don't agree with that's punk rock. That's actually the opposite. There's a great cartoon. It's almost like a political cartoon of punk rock. Where it's like, get a load of this conformist, and it's literally all punk rockers with green hair and pink hair, and it's the one guy who's in a suit, and it's like
Right.
it's ridiculous that you think that you have to dress this way and that this is like a fashionable thing. You could dress however the hell you want in punk rock. And musically, they're not anything that the Ramones didn't do 3 years prior.
Right. But here's my point. Well, I agree with almost everything you said, but here's the one thing that we have to acknowledge. The Sex Pistols were an international sensation and this huge thing. 1977 was the year of the Sex Pistols. No matter what else was happening in alternative music, it was the year of the Sex Pistols, and that is what all these older guys, you know, especially all the older punk rockers who grew up with that record, that was their introduction to punk rock music. That was a lot of kids' introduction to punk rock music. If you didn't go see the Ramones live in your town, you know, the Ramones, they would hit all the nooks and crannies all across America. If you didn't see them, then you were hearing about the Sex Pistols on the news and you were hearing about this thing called punk. You know what I mean? So it's like that is where that reverence comes from, whether it's earned or not earned. I personally like the Sex Pistols album. Again, it just feels like, you know what it feels like? It honestly, you can feel the influence of the New York Dolls. It's just, you know, the you know, guitar hero Johnny Thunders, you know, slinging his guitar, doing, you know, Steve Jones is just doing Johnny Thunders guitar licks and yada yada yada.
I'm not a fan of the vocals, and that really turns me off because usually vocals are very like the thing that grabs me. The only English singer that sounds so overtly and obnoxiously British that I really love his voice, and he's not even a singer, is Russell Brand with his fictional band Infant Sorrow. I don't know if you ever seen
was that from Forgetting Sarah Marshall and
Get Him to the Greek. If you listen to that album, the soundtrack, it's amazing punk rock songs and like hard rock songs. It's absurd. The songs are ridiculous, but it's insane. Like I love that. I can't get into like Johnny Rotten's obnoxious like snot.
Fair enough, but you have but whether no matter what you think about it, no matter what I think about it, like this is a fact of pop culture.
Yes, so they were important to getting punk to the masses, which yes, I agree.
So that's kind of setting up the tone of what's going on here. So let's keep playing. Let's see. And Bob Marley's having to deal with nasty drink. That was a complete insult to him, but he turned it upside down. And that's what he just sounds like a babbling old man.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So one thing I was wondering, John Barbados, you know, you made that there's so many different opinions in here, like John's here. What did you learn about punk from working on this? What did I learn?
I mean, he's just making such an ass out of himself.
Not even getting talked to when he's interrupting.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Marky is just slowly stewing. He's just stewing in the corner, waiting for a moment to speak. And again, I'm kind of annoyed. I'm happy that John Varvatos had enough like reverence for punk rock to like, you know, sort of like preserve what some of the stuff on the CB's walls and stuff. But like, it just sort of, I don't know. It just kind of like whack these up there. Like, why couldn't Iggy Pop be up there? You know what I mean? And Rollins looks like a little school child, man. He looks like a shy little schoolboy, like giggling at another kid being naughty in the classroom or something. I don't know. It's kind of funny. So, all right, I'm gonna play this again. Yeah. Henry Rollins is embarrassed for him. And Henry Rollins, who worships the Sex Pistols. Henry Rollins is a huge Sex Pistols fan. He loves that album. And now here he's being acknowledged by Johnny Rotten for the first time. And like, it just, I don't know. I love this next, right? He says, "We've never met before." He just goes, "No, sir," and shakes his hand. It's just like this is so typical Henry Rollins, like, just trying to, he knows the camera's on him. He knows there's cameras on him. He knows he's like in the middle, like the spotlight is on him, and he's just sort of trying his best to like keep it together. Now that's pretty awesome. What do you think of that? That he just did? Could you hear that?
Yeah, the bunch of rich kid. Black Flag was way more legit. Like, I love that Johnny would have even said that to like kind of diminish Black Flag. Black Flag's way more punk rock than Sex Pistols were ever. You know what I mean? That's hysterical that he would make fun. He was just jealous because what the hell was Pill doing when Black Flag were doing stuff?
Right. But I love that. But he, in the back of his mind, as he's just keeping his mouth shut, as he's knows the camera's on him, just trying to navigate this thing, and then given this opportunity to like just confront Johnny Rotten in front of all these people about what they said, about what he said about his band. And like, because he knows, he's like, this is going to be immortalized forever. Pretty great. Pretty great.
Oh, give me a break.
There's Johnny Rotten. Yeah, he's just trying to play it off.
Give me a break.
You ain't heard anything. By the way, I love British people. I love British accents, and I hope that there are no British people that take offense to me mimicking Johnny Rotten here. It's just that he's really putting on a really thick accent of some kind, and yada yada yada. So this just goes on for some time, but let's get to the part. This is the part that I really wanted to get into. Is it, when does Marky Ramone come into the? Marky is.
I think there's an isolated clip of that on YouTube. If you wanted to look that up. I don't know how.
Hold on, wait.
It's right after Marky says "fuck Trump." And
then,
yeah. Yeah, and then Johnny gets all upset. Why did you need to say that?
Because he's a Trump guy. Wait, hold on. Okay, here you go.
I remember I saw a picture of young John. He's wearing a Pink Floyd t-shirt. And on top of the Pink Floyd part, someone had written, "I hate." So someone was me, mate. Okay.
See, like, even still, he has such reverence for John Lydon. He still has such, like, respect that he's telling the story about how this guy influenced and impact, because he's probably geeking out on some level.
What were the things? What are your takeaways from this documentary? Well, there's a lot.
Here we go. Look at Marky just stewing.
You see the steam coming through his wig.
Say that again?
I said you can see the steam just going through his wig, reading off his head.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. He's so drunk, dude.
Yeah, he's wasted. There's no way he's sober. No way. No way. Look at Marky. He's just sitting there, just so angry.
I know. I'm waiting for the. I'm trying.
There's a guy in my neighborhood named Roberto.
All right.
If you look up the YouTube, there's an
There's
isolated
Duff
clip.
being like, "Hey," I'm sorry. What were you saying?
No, you're going. Duff looks like freaking David Bowie here.
He does, man. He looks like David, like biker David Bowie. It's pretty funny. He just wants so to be associated. It's like he's trying to like rewrite. He's like, I wasn't in Guns N' Roses. I was a punk rocker, you know?
I think he was in a punk band before Guns N' Roses.
He was when he was like 14 years old. He came up like on the streets, man. Like he really he earned his bones for sure. That there's nothing to be said about that. It's just this idea of like, you know, dude, you were in the biggest band in the world in the 90s, and like, you know, like he came from like, you know, cock rock, hair metal, LA, you know, the Strip. Like your punk pedigree is not really there in that kind of way. That's what bothers me about it, you know.
Yeah.
So
And then this West Coast thing started develop, like in my hometown of Seattle. Yeah. There was the Mentors and the Ludin.
right, yeah, because everybody knows about the Mentors. I mean, oh my god! All right, here we go. Here it is. Let's. Oh god. Duff was in the band called the Farts, according to John, Voice of Doom. There we go. Here's Marky. Oh, so you literally have. So what's amazing is you literally have a bunch of these iconic punk rockers, some of which are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, sitting up here and talking about who started punk. Like it's kind of like it's amazing that this got caught on tape. This is like such a what a what a situation. He's right. That's right. Bah! That's right.
Doesn't matter where it comes from, LA, New York, England. This is the best music that was ever out.
Isn't it funny to think that JV was his personal assistant? Like that like is hilarious to me. Like I just can't imagine JV tending to Marky Ramone's every like need and whim. It'd just be so funny.
I just want to say one thing. It has nothing to do with what's going on over here on the screen. Donald Trump will fuck off.
Why? Why did he need to say that?
Because he wants to start a fight with Johnny.
Why do you think politics was something anything in the Ramones that was remotely political? No, we were right.
Yes. Bonzo goes to Bitburg.
So the thing is, there's something for everybody, and that's what's important.
See, what would have been really great, and I don't know if it would have been possible, much like our political debates this year, where it was impossible for Biden and Trump, no matter what you think about them, and not to get political, we're not getting political, people, but just to think that those guys couldn't even have a debate, a civil presidential debate, that these guys would be able to like not talk over each other and getting all salty about it. Yeah, he's like a balloon.
Oh crap,
Alan here.
Jeff, you're getting the stutters again.
I'm sorry.
You're getting the stutters again.
Oh no, guys, am I getting? Maybe we should stop this then. I don't. Oh, please, someone in the audience confirm or deny if I'm becoming C. We just need one confirmation here. Oh fuck! I'm back. All right, hold on. Real quick. All right, I'm gonna duck. Shit.
Oh god, I'm jinxed. Nobody can have me on their podcast because I will ruin it on you. For some reason, I ruin podcasts and I make people stutter. Oh,
hello?
You're back.
How do I sound?
You sound good.
Okay, let's stop that. Unfortunately, we all know what happens next. Rust.
You're stuttering again.
Oh my god. Why can't we just have a normal civil conversation?
I don't understand. I'm a jinx. I'm sorry, everybody. I am a jinx. But speaking on the video we just watched, I think it is hysterical. I think Johnny just makes a complete ass out of himself. It's hysterical. I mean, there's no reason for him to be talking that much or for him to be so obliterated on that stage. Why? Why are you like this? Why are you saying the things you were saying? And it's hysterical because Marky talks on such authority, and he was just a drummer. He wasn't even the first one. He was a Johnny Come Lately. You know what I mean?
What's up?
Hey,
how do I sound? Am I stuttering?
Great. No, you're
really?
You're not stuttering, John. Nope.
You know what? Honestly, this is so not ideal, but I just don't even want to deal with the headache that we were dealing with. So let's just roll with it. Hold on, let me see if I can get a better. Of course, my wife took the headset. Motherfucker. Wait, I got an idea.
Comments are saying all good, better.
Oh, great. That's good. All right. Let's see what happens when I do this. I'm gonna add a lavalier microphone to myself.
All right.
So keep talking. Fill some dead air. While you
like I was saying, Marky Ramone is a Johnny Come Lately. You're not even a real Ramone. But it's hysterical. Johnny Rotten has no place talking that much and being that obliterated on the stage. It's just nonsense. Absolute nonsense. And what's even funnier is I wish Henry just gave him a smack. You know Henry could have taken him and just given him a nice pat on the head and just would have called it a night. You know.
Am I frozen?
You are frozen, Jeff.
This is terrible. Hello?
Yo.
I can't win, dude. Can't win.
Just keep it simple. Just be on the cell phone. There's a crazy delay. I say just keep it simple, man. Just be on the cell phone.
How am I doing now?
Oh, you're good.
All right. Good. Let's hope that lasts.
Okay.
Yeah, so it just devolves into a bunch of fighting. I could not. I was like, my jaw hit the ground when I saw that going down. It really blew my mind.
Yeah, that's absurd. It's insane. You know,
it was an insane situation. True.
I just wish Henry just gave him a smack or something. That would have been hysterical.
Yeah, that would have been appropriate for the situation. But you know what I realized? We got on this whole tangent about Marky Ramone, which led me to that. But what we were talking about was you attempted to play a show with Mr. Jim, It didn't go down. Now it's happening again. You are doing the show. It's going
January
down.
16th at the
January
Pegasus
16th.
Lounge in Tampa, Florida.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Are you doing
And I'll be
anything
using.
special? Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to be using the static age pedal, which will be awesome. And we're going to film it. We're going to have like 3-4 different angles. I'm going to have a professional photographer there. So it'll be well documented, because the way I was thinking, like, not many shows going on. So the ones I do play, I might as well have documentation of.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. And I was going to say, are you going to record? Obviously, you'll be recording the audio. Hopefully, if it's a good live show, maybe you'll do something with it.
Yeah. I would love to, like maybe
put out a live album.
That'd be great. I would love to do that.
I mean, if you're going to do a live album, might as well have Mr. Jim as a drummer. Freaking
It should
great.
It should be fun. It'll be real fun. But it's you know what's great too is there's not much footage of Jim drumming online. You know what I mean? So people they don't understand. They don't understand that Jim is a lefty, and it freaks people out too. When like there was some kind of debate, because there was a photo of Mr. Jim playing with the Misfits, and supposedly the date is wrong because it's Manny on drums, but it's actually Mr. Jim. And there was a whole thing I remember, maybe last year, and somebody's like, "Oh, Manny plays open-handed," and it's like, no, he wouldn't have the drum kit like that if it was Manny, because Mr. Jim is clearly lefty. The hi-hat is on the other side, the snare is on the other side, and people just were not understanding. They were trying to argue that it wasn't Mr. Jim.
Was this in Misfits fan
yeah, it was something like that.
Facebook group.
Yeah.
Those can devolve very quickly. I'm very happy with the one that I have on.
There hasn't been really any fights or anything.
No fights, 0 fights. I got great moderators in there. Everybody's sort of like, keeps it civil. Everybody. The only thing that bothers me about that group, my group, and I tried to even impart a rule about it, and then I actually deleted the video afterwards because I just thought I felt stupid. I just hate it when the same sort of stuff that's been on the internet forever gets put in there. I feel like it dilutes all the interesting stuff that people are sharing. And again, even if it's not specifically Misfits, that's fine too. I just it's oh, okay, you're posting the same photo of band from 1983 that we've all seen 100,000 times. Why? You just want people to like the photo? Okay, great, but come on, it's kind of boring. I don't know.
Yeah, but there's been some good actual discussions in that.
Oh yeah, everybody's a detective too, which I love. I love that everybody is thirsty to crack mysteries that nobody else gives a shit about. It's we gotta solve these mysteries of minutia mysteries. I don't know.
Dude, there's so much has came out since Facebook land,
right,
compared to when we were on Misfit Central 10 years ago, 12 years ago.
Yes.
Right, I mean?
Yes, very much so. Very much so. That was a different time. It was a bit of a dark age in terms of, revelatory things. And like I said, I think I talked about this on the other show, the biggest revelation was definitely the other half of the Plan 9 version of Walk Among Us with the really weird Devil's Whorehouse. That was the bottom of the barrel at that time. Was just
Oh, you know what? I have to tell you about that Devil's Whorehouse is you always mention that weird clack. What that is?
Yeah.
It's called a gated snare. That's exactly what that is.
Okay.
A gated snare was who invented that first was Phil Collins with In the Air Tonight. When there's a whole YouTube video of that. Basically they left a microphone on in the control room and it was capturing the snare as it repeated, and that's what gives it that deep sound. And that's what that is. It's a gated snare. That's what that clacking is.
Wow.
They overdub it. And he does something similar to that on Cough Cool. The 87 version. Or 86 or whatever that is. by overdubbing a snare. It's just it doesn't have the long tail, the long reverb tail.
Interesting.
He does it a bunch on the overdubs, on overdub versions.
Huh.
You know?
So weird. And that's Eerie Von playing drums, which is even weirder. Of all things.
I wish they just remixed the Cough Cool version, because they clearly had it if they were just tinkering. Because
No, Robbie, that's the problem. They didn't have it. He didn't have it. He lost the tapes.
Yeah, but how could he have removed the original vocals and sang vocals over if they didn't have it?
That was, I think that version was recorded completely from scratch.
No, because even if it's credited on, if you go to YouTube, what's really interesting is if you go to YouTube and you see like the whatever record label uploaded the Misfits songs to YouTube, like the official thing audio,
Caroline,
it has track listing on who plays what on every song.
Really?
Every song, if you look it up. And Quaff Cool on that version, you could hear it too, is Manny's playing drums on that. That's not a completely re-recorded version. It even says it has additional drums to Eerie Von. And Manny is the drummer.
I mean, it's not entirely impossible, but I always thought that was re-recorded. And the reason why I thought it was re-recorded is because the original went missing. And then let's just say a lot of bootlegs started to turn up in the streets, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I always thought that was a way of, having a record of that song, but that's why they redid it in the first place. Because
I think there's something up with that, because even if you line it up, it's the same recording.
Have you done that? Have you tried to line it up in
what you have to do is, though, if you notice, and I actually have a version that I edited, the vinyl speed is slightly sped up on Eerie Von's version of Quaff Cool and She. If you slow it down like a half a semitone, it sounds proper. And even if you tried playing guitar just in regular, perfect standard tuning, you'll never be able to play it with the Quaff Cool and She, because it's sped up half a semitone. It's the vinyl's running too quick, is what it is.
Wow. So you're saying, this is where I fall completely flat and blind, where I just don't know the music shit. Robbie is like blowing my mind right now. So you're telling me that you can never actually play to Cough Cool on whichever version that is, because it's sitting at a weird place in between
step above standard and standard. It's in between because it's not the proper speed rate.
So why can't a human being account for that when they're playing? Or it's just
you would have to tune your guitar like half. You couldn't tune it to, like, if you have a tuner, you just tune to what's an E, what's an A.
Okay.
But the way they transferred that vinyl, the vinyl was running too quick, so it sped up the song. It sped up the pitch. I'll send you later a properly pitched version of She and Quaff Cool. Because you never noticed that Glenn sounds slightly like higher in register when he's singing on that?
What's interesting that you're saying about that. So when I was doing 1979, I took versions from the Max's show, and I took versions from the 4th Street Saloon Live of the Perfect Crime, and I sped them up because I wanted to make them feel a little bit different than what everybody's heard, because I thought that would help create an illusion. But what I found, and I think you can speak to this better than I, guess whose voice sounded like a chipmunk?
Exactly.
He's singing a little higher. So
that's what happens when you speed it up.
Right. So then what I did was I kept it sped up, but I stepped it down a semitone. That's exactly what I did. And when I did that, I got this really, and I've had people in the group, someone in the group, I forget, was like, what version is that? Or how, was asking me about it. And I explained that, like, it's a version that you've heard before, but when you do those things, it makes it sound slightly like something you've never heard before, which was the goal of that in the first place. But that was the first time I'd ever heard of semitones, because I sped it up and I'm going, oh my God, what am I going to do? This is sounds ridiculous. Everybody's going to notice. And I was like, but if you bring it down one semitone, despite being sped up, it makes Glenn's voice sound deeper, and it
Yeah.
works.
That's
Super
exactly
weird.
what was needed to be done. It wasn't a full semitone, but maybe like a half of one with she and Cough Cool. That's what
Wow.
needed to be
Yeah.
done. I don't know
Super.
how they didn't notice that. You know what I mean? It's just the vinyl was running slightly too quick, is what it was, and that happens a lot. If your vinyl player is not completely calibrated, or you know what I mean?
Right. If you're going, I mean, if you play that vinyl too fast, it's just literally going to fast forward. Like that's
Exactly.
what will happen. Does that ruin the grooves of the vinyl, you think? Or is that,
That I don't know.
I
That
would
I would
imagine
not.
starts to create some sort of damage in some way, shape, or form. Robert Smith is asking, what's the set list? What are you talking about? Robert, what set list are you referring to? Right. So Cough Cool was never played live with just guitar, bass, and drums. No, no, Robert, that's not true. Actually, it was played live. I've heard it, and it actually sounds very much like it's very, very similar to what they recorded. Very, very similar. So I would think that whatever if they had done more songs, which I believe there's a third Cough Cool song. It's not exactly known what it is. I think it's Harpies in the Night, and but those other two songs sound just like what they played at that live show. So they most certainly played those lives, and they played She live. You know, I don't. Did they play She in '78 on that Max's Kansas City recording? I don't remember.
No.
No. They play. I mean, they played TV Casualty live. That's a weird when you think about it. That was like a live song they played. I don't know.
So cool. I love that
So
song.
cool. Now, do you have? This was another argument in the group. I know this is kind of like I hate talking about Misfit stuff in this on this show because the show's supposed to be non-Misfits, but whatever.
Yeah, but we're
Question.
nerds. You're never gonna
Yeah,
get
we're
the
nerds.
nerdiness. You know
We're
what I mean?
nerds. It's just gonna eventually evolve here. Question. Do you have the unedited version of Max's Kansas City live 1978? The
Yeah,
one without the overdubs.
I downloaded that from Mr. Central many years ago.
Yeah, that's like not like there was people in the group saying, "Oh, it's like impossible to get every version."
No, I think it was on YouTube.
Yeah, it's definitely out there. I feel like that whoever that was not looking hard enough.
No, it doesn't sound good. The quality's terrible.
Yeah, for sure.
But,
I mean, that's why I sped it up when I was doing the thing. I was trying to speed it up. I was like, "Oh, let me make this a little bit more exciting."
thank God you didn't use the Chud drums and Jerry and Doyle, because it just does not sound realistic.
I didn't even know Chud played drums. I thought it was just Jerry and Doyle.
No, that's Chud drumming on it.
Oh God, it's so
That's
bad.
Chud. I don't know how they ever thought that was going to get released. Like, it just does not sound good.
That just sounds like it was the result of like a lot of like cocaine and like just
We
bad.
got to put something out. We got to put something out.
Yeah, we got that they were trying to do that, and like they tried to do that before the box set came out. Even I think they were trying to do that in '94 or '95. They had the tape because of George Germain. George Germain made that tape.
You know what I do wish eventually comes out is the you have the Flip Side compilation from like 80 something, and there's Attitude on it.
Second show. Yeah, the second show.
Because that quality is great.
Yeah. I don't know.
I wish that came out because Attitude is on that, and that sounds phenomenal.
Do you know who I would ask about that? Actually, if anybody would know, apart from maybe Jerry, I would actually ask Steve Zing, because Steve Zing was very close with the Germains, and if George Germain made those recordings, Steve might have an idea of, if there were two, what might have happened to one of them. But I don't know if he knows. But I would imagine that would be the first place that I would look. Robert Smith from Romania, who's up at it's now like probably like 5:30 in the morning where Robert is, wants to know what the set list is for your Tampa gig. I don't know if it's a surprise or not.
We're doing like a bunch of Static Age stuff, and then we're doing Mr. Jim drummed on a song of mine that I wrote called I wrote with my guitarist Alex called Red Ice, and he's doing. I'll spoil this secret. We're gonna do Bad Mood Rising.
Ooh.
But we're gonna punk it up We do like a punk version.
That's gonna be cool. I'm excited to hear that.
We're gonna do Horror Business, Where Eagles Dare, but a different kind of version of Where Eagles Dare.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, those are the juicy ones.
I want to say, can I say something without revealing anything about the thing? So Robby's been working on something that I got to say, I really tip my hat to him. It's a really cool song, and I really hope something comes out of it. He's going to use the static age pedal for it.
Oh yeah,
and I think that it's going to be really, really something special. I don't want to say anything else about it. I just want to say that
I'll comment a little bit on that. We actually today, we booked a cabin in the Poconos, and we are going to be recording an EP in just secluded in the mountains. We're going to bring a crazy amount of equipment, record an EP in 3-4 days, and it's going to be super dark punk rock with like huge sounds. Because how it will sound huge is the cabin is just fully wood, and it's really tall. And most studios are small and compact, and that's why you have like kind of smaller drum sounds or like kind of dry drum sounds. This is going to be huge, and the guitars are going to sound huge. And I'm going to be using the static pedal on this. So yeah, that song is going to be recorded in April.
Oh, great! So cool, man. And question. So, what was I about to say? Oh, so how do you know? So the one thing so here's an interesting question. How do you know that it's going to sound that way? Is it just because you've seen pictures of the cabin, but you haven't actually been to the cabin? So how do you know about the acoustics, or you're just hoping?
I've seen pictures of the cabin, and we just know how reflections are with audio.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Makes sense.
It's going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool.
Right. I think it's going to be no matter what, even if you're like, no matter what the situation, it's going to sound different than a studio setting, which is what you were hoping for. And
exactly.
Cool. Very, very cool. I am actually very excited that your description of these songs and that sound makes me very interested to hear what you come up with. So
it's gonna be really cool.
I'm excited. Rue wants to know if you're going to stream the live gig.
I don't know if we'll live stream it, but it'll definitely be out there. Like, there's going to be 4 cameras. So it's going to be out there no matter what. I don't know if live stream. Yeah, it's definitely going to be out there. You know.
Yeah, but you can always you know what you can do eventually, no matter what you decide to do with it. You can always still do a live stream. You could do it. You could still premiere it live. That's what I do for all my videos. Mm-hmm. You could still premiere it live on YouTube at like an appointed time for people to watch if you wanted to. You could even do it limited. Like you could stream it and then delete it as soon as it's done. Unless someone's capturing it, like, which might happen, but like whatever. Like, unless someone's like capturing it right then and there, you could literally stream it and then delete it immediately afterwards and actually do a stream like that. You could do that on Facebook too, I believe. It's possible. So,
okay. That's cool.
You never know. Yeah. Man, that's really cool though, man, that you're going up to the cabin for this sort of experiment. Robert says he's from New Jersey, but he's just been traveling international for some years. Yeah, I was wondering, your name's Robert Smith, but you're in Romania. I've been to Romania. It's a very interesting place. We went to we were in Transylvania. It's a real place. It was a very interesting
music scene in New Jersey is not coming back. The scene is very clicky. You have to know people, unfortunately. That's why I never really play New Jersey. I only the past 2 years I've only played maybe 6 shows in New Jersey. The rest are always New York City. We played Manhattan, we played Brooklyn, we play Astoria.
That's cool.
I like New York City, playing in New York City better than New Jersey anyways.
When you say New York City, I was about to say also, I know you play in Queens, but like, I mean, Manhattan's a lot more challenging to play in than say maybe Brooklyn. Am I correct about that? in
I'm
terms
sorry,
of
repeat that.
gigs? Is I maybe I didn't hear what you said before. When you're playing New York City, are you playing in Brooklyn or are you playing Manhattan?
We played both.
I
We
mean,
did.
what's on in Manhattan right now? Manhattan right then.
We played this place called. I played
Autos.
in. No, I've never played Otto's. We did Desmond's Tavern. We did. Crap. Where the Delancey?
Delancey, yeah, right by the bridge.
Yeah, we did that.
I think that place is still around or was still around.
That was a cool place in the middle of the freaking. We played this terrible place called something Monkey, and it was just there was mold in there. It was a dance club upstairs. You just heard freaking people stomping upstairs.
Yeah,
They didn't want to pay us. Yeah, that was not good. But Desmond's Tavern was real cool.
What do you do about that? What happens with that? Like when you've done.
When people don't pay us?
I mean, yeah, like, do you get Jersey on them? Like, did the lead pipes come out? Like, what do you do when you're like in middle fuck America, and you're at whatever place you're playing, and they're just like, they give you some bullshit excuse, or they
don't pay us. I usually take a microphone. I'll take their cables.
Yeah.
I'll take the funniest story was in North Carolina, my first tour. It was 2014.
Yeah.
They did not. They booked us, and then they realized they double booked us. So they had the DJ perform there, and not us. They kicked us out. They said, "Oh, you got to get all your equipment out of here. You can't play here." So as we were leaving, I took a hose from outside. I threw it in the venue, and I turned on the hose, and then we left. And I didn't realize that we were still packing up. So they turned off the hose real quick because they had a drum still in the venue.
Oh man. Oh no.
And then so then we left that club, and we down the block in Wilmington, North Carolina, there was a brand new wine bar called the Bodega. And they said, "Oh, you guys don't have anywhere to play? Bring some acoustic guitars. You can play here." So we played there, and we made like $200 worth of tips and all the free wine that we could get. And 2014, I was 17 years old.
You're like, holy crap, this is great.
Yeah. So they paid me in wine, and we got $200 worth of tips. That was phenomenal. That was a win in my book.
That's a win. I'd say that's a win, especially when you had such a bad situation before.
Oh yeah, it was the best. We weren't going to get paid $200 from that night. You know what I mean?
I will tell you, I was once with some gentlemen, if you could call them that. We were. I was actually reminded of this story not too long ago. We were. This was many years ago, and we were in a restaurant, and it was a very somber evening. And what I didn't know at the time, though, was there was something going on with the waiter. There was something going on in this restaurant, in this establishment. I had my video camera. I was very focused on my video camera at the time. I didn't see that some of the constituents I was with had gone to the bathroom and left the. They I guess they clogged the drain and in the sink and turned the water on and then walked. And then we all walked out, and I don't remember I'm trying to remember what the thing was, why they were treated poorly or slighted in some way, and these constituents I was with decided to retaliate, and
that's hysterical.
that was the end result. It was a very soggy bathroom sort of situation. So sometimes I mean, well, it's kind of like, what do you do in a situation where like you need to retaliate, but you want to do it in a way where you're not going to like hurt anybody or cause harm? And it gets very difficult.
You take their equipment, because
that's definitely one way to do it. But even in a way where they couldn't press charges against you, you know what I mean? Like, what's a way where, and that's something that like, I'm always thinking about. I always get very tempted, like to, in terms of like, somebody really pisses me off, and there are these like little things that you could do that are sort of like, they're like victimless crimes where you could like really just like get back at someone. But then at the same time, it's like, it's just bad karma. It just doesn't,
but you know what? Like Yeah, you're right. I mean, you should always be the bigger man, but I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
just the universe always somehow boomerangs back to you if you when you do it. That's the problem.
You know
That's
what's the best story that we had when we didn't get paid was Austin. What's Austin saying? Jeff, he said he sang the best version of
I'm
Hybrid
just
Moments.
putting up comments without reading them because we're having a conversation, but I don't want to like ignore the comments. And Austin is saying that he's telling me that he sang the best version of Hybrid Moments with Robbie's band at my wedding last year. And I actually knew this story because I heard it on Loki's show when you did Loki show. I listened to that whole episode. I was like,
He's got to mention it everywhere that he goes. This is
yeah,
I'm his wagon. He's got to pitch it on. You know what I mean?
yeah. I get it. I get it. I totally understand.
But no,
Yeah, you had
the
some
best
interesting stories.
story. The best
Yeah.
story was when we were in Washington. Or no, I'm sorry. We were in Portland, and Robby Bloodshed played. We opened up for Stella Corpses, and we did not get paid. There was no
Ooh.
money at the end of the night in Portland. We spent all our money getting there, and we had a show the next day in Everett, Washington. So
Jesus.
after the gig, we were in the heart of Portland. We took an acoustic guitar out and we busked. And I mean, we were fighting with gypsies throughout the night, and there was homeless people trying to steal our spot. Like I guess it was a pot spot where people would busk, and we were
Yeah.
fighting with people the whole night. Eventually, this amazing group of people, they just left, I think, like a quinceanera, and they gave us $50. They were drunk. They were like, "Oh, you guys are great." They gave us $50, and that's how we got to Washington the next day. You know,
Boy, you've had some adventures, man. I mean, that's the fun thing about touring is that like it's an adventure and like, again, you get to see so much of the world that you might not if you
oh
were
yeah,
just like, staying, in your small town or whatever, staying in your house. And it's a real privilege to be able to do that. At least I'm glad I got to do it at least once in my life that I had that
yeah.
experience. That really is. It's like you're the farthest away that you could be from home. Crazy stuff happens, and you're just sort of out in the ether, and it makes for good stories later on. It's just like a wonderful. And again, I don't know if Again, I speak for myself personally. Like I don't know. I am sort of a homebody, somewhat in certain times in my life. Sometimes I just want to be in my castle, and call it a day. But it's like the idea of I remember I heard Loki talking about just going out, friggin' I don't even know however many times he was going out with Graves. And it's like, how that must change you, or like all of a sudden it's like your home is not necessarily your home anymore, and it's like you being on the road is home, and it's like a different sort of mindset. And I don't think that's where I would draw the line, where I was just like, I could not, but to experience it like in a limited setting for me, it was magical.
The
And
thing is, like, and this isn't to discredit Loki or anything like that, but the way we toured and the way Loki toured was way different. And that's not a slight on Loki, but Michael Graves is a much bigger name. He gets
right,
$1,000 guarantees. We would
right,
get door deals, or we would go in ahead with like $200 guarantee, which is enough to
right,
get us to the next place and a place to stay. And most of the time, we didn't have a place that we would just stay in the RV or the camp or the van. So like, yes, he's out for months at a time, but I would have killed to have been out for months at a time if we had a
right.
hotel every night. We were just bumming it. I mean, we would stay at people's houses or in
Right.
the car. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I
So
mean, that's my point, is that like the way you describe that, like you wouldn't be able to do that on
we
end.
did the
It would
longest
just drive you crazy.
the longest we did was 48 days like that.
Oh
We did
my god.
we did
You're a
48
mad
days.
you're a madman.
You know what though? I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't trade it for the world because it was fun.
Yeah.
Dude, it was so much. I mean, it was hard, but it was
Yeah.
fun. You know what I mean? Like we broke down the best experience ever, and if I ever have the money, I would 100% move out to Washington. So we were in
Really?
Washington with the RV. That thing was a freaking disaster. I hated that RV. I love the comfortability of it, but it would break down every 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
we were in Washington, and the exhaust pipe fell off. Basically, it was
Oh
garbage,
my
it rotted
God.
through. And this would never happen on the East Coast. And
Right.
we brought the RV to this. We got towed to this middle of nowhere called Snoqualmie in the mountains of Washington. And these amazing owners of this thing, there was just a mom and pop shop, repair shop.
Right.
And they said, "Oh, yes, no problem, we'll do it." They said, "Oh, we'll call our daughter, and she'll take you guys to Seattle, and you'll have a day out of it, and we'll fix your RV."
Wow.
So we went. We went to Seattle, which we were hanging out Kurt Cobain's house, and the girl locked the keys in the back of her car. We were having beer and stuff, and so we had to just drink outside of Kurt's house for 5 hours until the RV was done, and
Oh
they picked
my
us up with that.
God.
And at the end of the night, the father never even charged us for the RV, and he charged like $100, which was like $1,000 job. So it's like
Wow.
stories like that where it's unforgettable. I mean, it got even crazier at the time in Seattle when we were, outside Kurt's house, locked out of the car. There's a nude beach that's not really a nude beach across the street. And then we were going to somebody's house that we had just met for like, they said they were going to buy us at diner food. The diner food was terrible, and like the waiter's shtick was just to insult you. It was just a crazy time that you would never be able to experience ever again. And but yeah, like it's stuff like that. Like I wouldn't trade that because it's such life experience. So even
Yeah.
though I'm not getting rich off of it, it's like I did that. It was fun. We
Yeah.
got to meet
For
crazy
sure.
people. We got to meet such nice people that we would never meet anywhere else.
Right. Right. And I mean, you're like in this, like, you're a professional musician. This is what you want to do with your life. And you're like, there's COVID right now, and you can't, go out and gig and do the things that, that bring in income. I mean, how do you keep a presence uh at a time like this when there's like, you can't go out and promote your brand? It's got to be challenging, tough,
It's frustrating, but we were so lucky in that we shot all the music videos running out of time
Right.
right before COVID hit.
Holy hell, yes.
So we shot four music videos before COVID hit, and I was just sitting on them until the album was ready to be put out. And then once the album was put out, had everything
Right.
fired and ready to go. You know what I mean?
Right.
I still have one more to release. I wanted to wait till Christmas and stuff was over. So, and this, like I said, this has been shot for a year now. So I'm lucky in that aspect. But now the well is going to run dry because now I have no more
You're
music
banking
videos.
content is what you're doing. Banking
Yeah.
content.
Like you were talking with Loki, like music videos are the way to go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the best way to promote yourself because people would rather watch a music video than just stream audio. Even if they'd rather listen to the audio of a music video than just a regular video. And people are more inclined to click on a video that's a music video rather than just an album cover. You know what I mean? It's more interesting and it looks more professional. Granted, it's a professional video. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
I mean, I think of myself as a music consumer, and that's what I want. The first thing I do, I want to see live footage, or I want to see music videos or whatever, and I'm searching on YouTube for that stuff. I love this band Dark Thoughts, and they're like super, I guess, this is kind of a funny thing to say. They're super underground, and they don't have any music videos, and they put out 3 albums already. They don't have any music videos. So all I can rely on is just like live footage. And it's just kind of like, they kind of play like, or they were playing out like, every once in a while, but like, it's like, but they don't have a social media presence. So it was like, I was like
such an
starved.
important thing.
Yeah. I mean, they're like, these kids are like, I don't know. They're kind of like, oh, like, we don't do that stuff. Like, 'cause we're so punk rock, which is kind of lame a little bit. Like, it's kind of frustrating. They have a band camp. That's all they have. They have a band camp and then whatever has been shot of them. And they're one of those bands that just play house shows, touring around. I think they just made it to Europe for the first time this year, right before COVID hit. So they're slowly, making a name for themselves, and they're doing it through that stuff. And I drove all the way to the city just to see them play for 20 minutes in an opening slot at St. Vitus in Brooklyn. just because I had discovered them on Spotify and I was like, I just love this band. And, I've talked
That's
about this
cool.
before. I just,
cool.
that's what you do. If you're a responsible music consumer and you appreciate like bands, like, make an effort to go and see the band play if they come close to you, buy some merch, if you feel inclined. And then who cares if you're streaming their music for free, or essentially free, over and over and over again, because, and this is what Jerry Only taught to me. And something that he figured out, I think, way before anybody else did in the age of Napster. Do you ever hear Jerry Only like bitching about people pirating music? He's just accepted that. He's just sort of like, it is what it is.
He's got to have the best packaging. He's always claiming.
That's what That's what he talks about. He talks about like, all right, this is the situation. Like the music, unfortunately, music becomes free in the digital age. Whether you want it, whether I want it to be, it's terrible. I agree, Robbie. It's terrible, but it's free. It's essentially free. So it's like the question every artist needs to be asking themselves is, what do I have that I can create monetary transactions with so I can actually make money off of my brand and my art? And that's ultimately what it comes down to, brand. And not like in like a commercial way.
No.
It's like,
merchandising.
Right. It's just a brand. And it's like creating stuff that people will buy. And it's like, I think the dream, the ultimate dream, the ultimate goal is, if you have, think about it like this. If you have 1,000 people spending $100 on whatever it is that you're doing a year, you're making a 6-figure salary. And that sounds like a little like simple, but if you think about it, divide up 100 by 12 months. What's 100 by 12 months? Sorry.
You're asking the wrong guy.
Hold on. I am the wrong guy too. Hold on. Wait, I'm going to do that math real quick. Sorry, people. Not all of us are smart with math. So that's $8.30. $8.33. So if you can find a way to make 1,000 people spend $8.33 a month on your wares, then you could be making a 6-figure salary. And so when I see, there are some guys out there who have 1,000 people that will fork over, and I'm just like, if I see an action, it just kind of blows my mind. I'm just like, what are you waiting for? Like, there's 1,000 people out there that are going to friggin' drop, and then that's where, also like, this idea of Patreon comes in. Imagine if 1,000 people spending $8.33 per month. That's it, per month, not even per week, per month.
I think some of these Patreons though are ridiculous. Like some
of
them,
tell me why you think that. I'm curious to hear that.
I think it's ridiculous when people are, if you're basically begging for money in the sense of like, oh, you could hear me talk about my song if you pay this month. I will thank you. I will talk to you. I'll have a conversation with you if you pay $5 a month. I will send you a personal thank you if you spend this amount of money. I think that's bullshit. To thank somebody or say that you're going to have a conversation with somebody because you paid them, when you're not. This is for local musicians, not like not a huge name like a, you know what I mean. This is for local musicians because we're nobodies, and when you're asking people to pay you to thank them or get acknowledgement, that's where I see the problem, because you're not at that level yet. And I've seen it multiple times. And I
was about to say, is that a thing? I don't even know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. The only thing I know about Patreon is that it's like a subscription. You're getting content of some kind, from my understanding, that you get content of some kind, whether it's like unreleased tracks or demos or, videos.
That's a little different. That's a little different, but there's different stages or different levels of Patreon. Okay. Usually like the entry levels are like a thank you, a personalized thank you. And I think that's wrong.
Yeah, I think that's wrong as well. I wouldn't do anything, not that I could even sustain 1,000 people to begin with, but if I somewhat could, or in some way, shape, or form, you have to have something to offer. That's the whole point of the brand. Some people like your brand, They want what you have. What do you have? Do you have demos? Do you have like, you know, are you going to do a show, like a unique set every single month that, you know, for $8.33? And it, you know, if you can do that for 1,000 people, you're making six figures.
I
just
think
from
merchandise is what people should just do. Like
merchandise.
I don't agree with a lot of Patreon stuff, but it's basically, I mean, I think the people that the girls that do OnlyFans are doing more work than the guys that do Patreon for music. You know what I mean? At least they're making.
Oh yeah, they're doing more work.
You know what I
Come
mean?
on,
Dude, hey, I don't knock
that's a
anybody's
workout.
hustle. I don't knock anybody's hustle when it comes
I
to
don't.
that.
Neither do I.
If you can make money doing it, do it. I would. Yeah, I mean, I would do it if I could. Nobody wants to look at my naked ass, but hey, if I could make
Yeah.
good, if I could make
Maybe
good
I
money
could
doing
market
it,
my feet. If I don't know, there's like something, I wouldn't mind shooting videos of my feet and letting people look at them. I mean, who cares about feet? Anything else would be a little weird. But like, yeah, feet, yeah, toenails, whatever.
you should try to get a Quentin movie. You could show off your feet.
That's right. That's very true. This is very true. That
No,
dude
but
loves feet.
but speaking of like, dude, I'm trying to think of different ways to make a little extra money with COVID going on, and what my new adventure that I'm going to be doing, which is not, I don't see it as a moral problem, is I'm going to be making bootleg niche Nintendo stuff, like
Okay.
through like Etsy.
Okay.
I did some testing in the waters with some bootleg Nintendo stuff on there, and it sold
Yeah.
really well. I'm not
Really?
just doing, yeah, I'm not just doing like a regular, like, oh, this is a pin of Mario. Like been making really cool designs with like odd and obscure side characters from like Zelda Ocarina of Time, and like weird paintings from like Luigi's Mansion and stuff like that.
You've done enamel
And
pins, right?
correct, yep. And
Is that a complicated process?
if you overcomplicate it, you need a simple design. You need something that is flat, no shading. It needs to be a flat design. It needs to be a very simple design. But yeah, no, like I've been trying to extend my stuff, doing like just making any kind of money I can. But yeah, I tested the waters with some like weird side character stuff from Nintendo games, and I think people are liking it. You know, I ordered some more. I ordered like 7 designs that I'm gonna put on Etsy.
Now, what about like the thing that I try to do, or that I've been trying to do, is try to make something that is, and this is like the question that I always ask myself, what is a quality that I can exploit without actually copying the thing, that where everybody knows what that thing is without actually saying it or without actually showing it. And a great example, like I've been working on a Misfits you can only have one cheeseburger t-shirt, and I think I got a really fun, crazy design that I sort of synthesized myself. You know, it kind of combines a bunch of things, and I think that, you know, it doesn't have like, I think it says what it is without actually saying it.
So it's basically where do you draw the line in the sand?
Me? Well,
no. That's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying. You're doing is like you're not stepping on the toes of any copyrights, but you're doing something that is in that people know is associated.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, that I'm all for that. I think for me, like where I'm afraid, where I try to, you know, watch myself. And again, here's the thing, if you do this stuff in incredibly small runs and stuff, like, you know,
you'll never get fucked with.
No one's really gonna, you know, shine a light on you. But like, it really depends on the size of your operation. For me personally, I just don't, you know, I want to be able to like really like promote it as much as I can. And I feel like I would be scared if it was something that was, you know, a registered IP. So I try, and sometimes I even start with something that is a registered IP, and then I just try and change it. You know, if you change up to a certain percentage, it's okay. And so I just change it. And I'm like, does it still retain its essence? And if it does, and it looks cool, then, you know, go for it. A perfect example was I tried to do, and it wasn't very popular, but I thought it was a great joke, was the sour cream shirt. I thought more people would get that joke of, Samhain 3 sour cream because,
Mhm.
it's a thing. And some people thought it was funny, but I guess it didn't, sometimes ideas stick and sometimes they don't. But for me, I like literally took Daisy sour cream. I scooped out the design and just left the shape, and then I put my own stuff in there.
Mhm.
And and so it retains the identity, the essence, without actually infringing on the trademark.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
that's what I try to do. That's hard. That's so hard. It's
Mhm.
not easy.
No. But it makes sense.
Robert Smith asks, can't you charge for a live stream concert, set date and time and fee after 1 week of announcing? Those who paid are sent a link. Yeah, I mean that's what Robert, that's what happens now. You can do e-tickets, and you get a streaming link, and you can do a show. And I know that there was some stuff, horror punk stuff like that was done recently.
Another cool thing that we're gonna do, which was made during COVID, was we were invited after this record company heard us release Running Out of Time.
Right.
They invited us to do a vinyl session where each vinyl is personalized and it's its own thing. So each vinyl is its own performance.
Right.
So yeah, we're going to be doing that in a couple of
Very
weeks.
unique.
A lot of work. A lot of work.
Yeah, you have to play the song like how many times would you have to play one song?
So like we're doing the song Running Out of Time 7 times in a row. We're doing
Wow.
Fallen Heroes 7 times in a row. We're doing
It's got to be perfect.
It's got to be perfect. The only thing I'm worried is my voice, but I've been practicing a lot, so I'm not too worried. But it is very strenuous.
You know what's crazy about that too is that, like, yeah, I guess you kind of have to but if you think about it like this, it's like it's no different. 7 songs, 7 songs, 7 songs. It's like if you're playing a 21 song set, you're just doing the same songs over and over and over again.
Yeah, but the thing is, the difficulty of certain songs is different throughout the set.
Well, what about this? What if would they allow you to like literally do a set of 3 songs 7 times?
What do you mean?
Like if there's a
3-hour allotted time.
Oh, gotcha.
For the studio time, so it has to be done in those 3 hours. And some of the songs are like Running Out of Time is 3.5.
Wow.
3.5 minutes. So 7 times is 21 minutes right there. And then you got to account for changing in between songs, like the vinyl setup, the actual setup of the equipment. 3 hours goes quick in the studio, dude. 3 hours.
That's a
really
cool
quick.
machine. It's like a lathe that they use.
It's kind of like what they used in the 50s when they would go directly vinyl.
Right. That's what it is. It's just an updated version of that technology. Sing into the can, that sort of situation. Like, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
I love that.
Love
that movie.
So great. So friggin' great.
Then friggin' Osaka Popstar did a terrible version of I Am a Man.
It's bad. It's really bad. That project is. Someone wanted me to do a whole episode about it. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I have it in me.
That's so much comedy gold, dude. You could so do an episode on that.
My God. I guess what I would do is I'd start with an I'd have to find an interview, and I would just take it from there. Here's the thing about doing that stuff, though. You got to walk the line. I try to walk the line of insulting and analyzing, because there's plenty of stuff I hate, believe me. And I usually, for the most part, even when I'm like talking about some of the cringe moments that Jerry has had in his career, I still try and like make it positive, or I still try and like look for the positives within it, because I just hate that. I hate that idea of just shitting on something for the sake of
you have a good balance, I feel like. Even like with the Jerry interviews where he goes a little crazy, like you still find some good
Because
moments
there's
in
some
his.
good stuff. Because there's some redeemable qualities about Jerry, even at those crazy times. And like,
Mhm.
I think that like, again, you like look at like all this, like a great example really is even despite whatever ego he might have, like at the end of the day, I think Jerry was perfectly happy not being a front man, if you believe it or not.
Oh,
He
totally.
he was happy to let Graves just be the front man. Like he didn't even he's not even in the center of the pictures. He lets Graves be in the center of the pictures. So that really says something to me about him becoming the singer is more a utilitarian than it is I'm sure it inflates his ego, but it's also in Jerry's mind. He's like, oh, great. That's one less asshole I have to pay
Exactly.
and one less guy I have to worry about. Who is he going to flake on me when we have a big guarantee coming from Russia? No, we're going to fly out to Russia. Then we got no problem. We only have to worry about 3 visas now, not 4,
I think it started out as convenience and then led to like, oh, I'm a great singer, which we all know
Yeah.
was what, but I do think it started out as convenience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Robert, thanks for tuning in, buddy.
Thanks for
Have a
listening.
very happy Christmas and a happy New Year. Stay safe. Enjoy your travels, man. Thanks for tuning in and thanks for the comments. Bill says Jerry kept the spirit of the Misfits alive, and you can tell he loves the fans. Yes, I don't disagree with that. But I mean, that's where like Jerry shines when he's like, when he's good to the fans. But like, the other thing too is like, once again, the dude obviously has an ego in the sense of like he wants to keep that machine running. It's his machine. He wants to keep it running. He has ownership over it,
It's also a
and
cash cow.
it's a cash cow. And you want to know what else too? I mean, again, I realized when I was going over Project 1950, and I'm going, this really is not a bad album at all. It's
I
recorded
enjoy
well.
that.
Yeah, Jerry sings well. The problem always comes back to the following thing: brand
Yeah.
confusion. You're calling it the Misfits. That's the only problem here. Really, truly.
If it wasn't the Misfits, it would be a great punk covers album of those songs.
You could just call. Why does he call it the Only Ones? That would be such a good band name for him.
I remember people were saying like even like if he called the band like Famous Monsters or something, that'd be cool.
Oh my God, yes. I would love that. Then I would love it. I'd be like, oh my God, yes, American Psycho, Famous Monsters.
You know what's
Woo!
weird? What's weird is like Jerry sang those songs pretty competently, and then
Yeah,
Devil's Rain is just terrible. Like I think it's the vocal coach. I think it's because he went to a vocal coach and he's trying to teach him how to properly sing. You know what I mean? I think that's what it is. Because there's a lot of singers that they go to vocal coaches and they lose their originality and they lose what people liked about their voices. Another great
right.
example of that is I think Billy Joe Armstrong. I know I don't think you're a Green Day guy, but the early Green Day song, the Green Day albums, the early ones are great because he has this great like
Punky
fucking
voice.
yeah. And then
Snotty. He's snotty.
somewhere along the lines, he changed his voice to be a proper singer, and I don't like that. You know what I mean?
Wait a minute. Hold on. I'm not familiar with why Marky and Jerry had a falling out. I don't
I've heard
actually
that
know.
as well. I've heard that story as well. He wanted Marky Ramone and the Misfits, and Jerry shot that
But
down immediately.
like, could this be it that Austin and well, I'll ask you too, Robbie. Where did you hear this? What I've never heard this before. I just always know that he gets off the Misfits train and then they just badmouth each other for actually Marky. Jerry never badmouths Marky ever. Never talks bad about him, but it's not the other way around.
I don't know where I heard that, man, but I have heard that before.
I would imagine that it would be true. I could imagine Marky Ramone pulling a move like that. He's like, I'm in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. People are coming to see these shows because of me, because that's what Marky thinks. And we should call it Marky Ramone and the Misfits. That the Misfits would be Marky Ramone's backing band. Like,
Terrible.
we're gonna put Marky out in front on the drum riser, Jerry and Dez in the back. I mean, they're just like just the Three Stooges, man.
Dude,
just
it was
like
the
totally.
weirdest. That was the weirdest era of the Misfits. Like Them
That was
going
so
on
so weird.
the People's Court.
Yes. Oh my God. What a like, it's a good TV appearance for us, for the kids.
So
What is it with
freaking
Jerry
weird,
and
dude.
for the kids? He's always for the kids,
What kids are you talking about, Jerry? Where are the kids?
Like, how can you hate Jerry only? Like, he's just so
Super nice
great.
guy.
Like, but this is what I mean. Like again, like I don't want to ever do business with Jerry only. I really don't, because again, but like every other aspect, like he's just
Just seems like
he
a super nice guy.
just seems like the best guy ever. Like he's just so gregarious and just sort of like, I don't know. I just can't hate on that. That's why when I do my thing, I'm not, I don't think I have to, like, I really I try to, think in his head of like why he would do some of the things that he does. Like, where is he coming from? Is he out of touch? Is he out of touch, or is he just not like is there a disconnect? And just this idea of like, his marketing prowess for Project 950. Well, we'll hook the parents, because the parents will really be into the 50s music, because that's what they grew up on. Like, negating to think that maybe the parents don't come from the 50s, Jerry.
No,
They're probably born at the 70s or
his
the late
parents.
60s at that point. Yeah, that's what he's thinking of. That's why it's so funny,
You know what is hysterical though? Like, as crazy as Jerry is, and like we talk about his bad business,
Yeah.
but the thing is, try to imagine the imbeciles that he was dealing with in his era of the lineup. Imagine being in a van with Chud and Michael during that era. Imagine it.
Yeah.
You know what I often wonder? I wonder who is more of a dysfunctional band, the Ramones or the Misfits 95?
I would say, man, that might be a toss up, because you know what? Here's the interesting thing though. With the Ramones, yeah, I've read a lot about the Ramones, especially a lot of illuminating things in Monty A. Melnick's book. Monty's going to be the next episode.
I heard about that. That's awesome.
But I've always, I hear I think mostly Michael Graves will say that, like, that, and I've heard Chud say this too, that like when they're, together and doing their thing, that like, they have good chemistry together, and that those guys did kind of get along well for quite a while until, up to a certain point. So I don't really know what I know that Doyle was not into Michael when he first joined the band, right?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Well, but the dysfunction of all of them, they created great. I mean, it's not the Misfits, but they created some good songs. As dysfunctional as dysfunctional as they were as a unit, they worked because of how dysfunctional each one was. Like, dude, Chud, Michael, Doyle back then was. I mean, it's Jerry being Jerry. That's just a crazy combination put together.
Is such when you think about it like that, it is, the person who would, and he would never tell, but he most certainly knows. He might tell you in private, but he wouldn't tell you on air. Is Tank knows. Tank knows. Rocky would know. They
Tim Bunch.
Yeah. So, those guys definitely are probably aware of those in and outs, and we know that there were certain appetites that were definitely explored, and yeah, I couldn't imagine trying to, like, that's what's so funny, like like imagining trying to like explain concepts to like Chud at that time, because like Chud before that, he had played in a couple bands, but that's his first time in real show business,
Yeah.
And then, he's trying to run the show with Graves, and that, exploded. It's kind of funny to think that it was Chud who was doing the running of that stuff, when I mean, you would think he'd be like the last person, in charge.
Yeah.
It's really weird. It's really, really, really weird. But again, like, again, with Jerry at the helm of that, I guess it kind of makes sense. But even Jerry's like, all right, now we're gonna wrestle. Let's wrestle. Like, It's just bananas. I guess you're right. I guess that when I think about it, the more I think about it, it was probably really. And Mike is just like, got his head in the clouds. You know what's funny? I asked Loki, I asked JV. I'm like, what's the deal? So did Michael Graves go to hockey camp or not? Those guys are like, no, definitely didn't go to hockey camp. That is so overblown. And I think it was Loki, and where he basically, it was like this. It was like asking somebody. It would be like asking somebody if they're gay. Like, are you gay? And then them saying, no, I'm not gay. I just have sex with dudes on the side. You know what I mean? Like, it was that kind of response of like, no. He definitely didn't. He definitely didn't walk off to go to a hockey camp. What happened was he made plans with his friends to go play hockey, and then by the third time, he put his foot down because he had to cancel 3 times. And I'm like going, oh, okay. But in my head, I'm thinking, so he did cancel because of hockey.
I absolutely believe that. I think he was probably getting way ahead of himself, thinking that he was irreplaceable. He was Michael Graves. And then Jerry put his foot down, got Mike Hideous, which was pretty messed up.
Now here's my theory. And this goes back, this was another controversy about Bobby Steele. Was Bobby Steele kicked out by
combination,
Jerry?
Dude. It was a combination. It was just like with all these things. There's no one story. We know this. There's no one.
But you just spoke about it with Mike Hideous. What does Jerry do the moment that Michael Graves isn't playing ball? He fucking replaces him with Mike Hideous as a power flex move. What do you think he did with fucking Bobby Steele? I think Bobby Steele didn't show up one day, just one time, or Bobby had gotten into an argument where like he was like, come pick me up. And he's like, no, come to the studio. And he's like, well, if you don't pick me up, then I'm not coming to the studio. And then didn't show up. Something like that happened. Whatever. Something. Bobby doesn't show up. The studio day might be almost ruined. They're like, Doyle, come play. And they're like, you know what? Fuck it. Doyle, you're the fucking new member of the band. Fuck, Bobby. We'll just use you from now on. And then like, that's how, all of a sudden, Jerry is like, oh, you're going to flex on me, Bobby? I'll flex back. That is a semblance of both sides of the truth, in my opinion. And again, do I know? Do you know? No.
That sounds the most realistic.
It sounds realistic. That sounds realistic to me. Because, again, Bobby, Bobby could be a provocative guy. And I could imagine Bobby.
And he was doing stuff that he shouldn't do back then. Because it's documented that Bobby was, a drug addict.
Right. Bobby was into substances. And, again, Bobby could be, provocative. And I could totally imagine him trying to pull a move like that. And again, Bobby is, besides like Glenn's voice, like Bobby's guitar playing is like really good for that band. And so in Bobby's like, oh, they would be crazy. That would be crazy for them to, get rid of me, And little do they know that they take Doyle, who 15-year-old kid knows 2 guitar chords. Sure, come on. Probably Glenn played a lot of that too, though. Probably Glenn filled out some of those tracks. It's not just Bobby and Doyle tracks. It's Bobby, Doyle, and Glenn tracks for sure. It has to be. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I think Glenn, though, I mean, I'm like Walk Among Us. People complain sometimes like that Glenn's guitar playing is not that bad or not that good. It's not bad on Walk Among Us. Like, it does the job. It sounds good.
Yeah. To be honest, I don't think, here's the thing. I don't think that, it's not that I don't think Glenn is a bad guitar player. I think that he is not, I don't think he's comfortable with the guitar. I don't think as a performer, as, like he wants somebody else. He'd rather have a more inexperienced guitar player backing him up that he could mold just the way that he wants, rather than get up there and be a 3-piece and play guitar himself. He wants to be a singer, like Elvis. And so like, I think it really just comes down to him. And you can even see him at that first Sam Hain show where he's like, fuck it, actually I will play guitar. And he's awkward. He's awkward with the guitar. He's just not, it's not his strong suit,
I wish there was footage of him playing piano, because that would be interesting to see.
That would be very interesting to see. I would love to see that. Also, I think Glenn not a good drummer until he started doing the Sam Haines stuff on November Coming Fire. You know, he may know what he wanted, but I got to tell you, imagine like being Steve trying to like do like get that stuff down, but maybe like Glenn can't even perform it himself. You know what I mean?
It happens all the time.
Yeah, he knows what he wants, and he tells Steve what he wants, and Steve's like, you know, doing the best he can, doing his thing, and like maybe Glenn can't even like physically demonstrate because he just can't do what Steve can do as a drummer.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what happened with. I think that's kind of what happened with London. London was new to the band; he didn't know how to play some of the parts yet. So Glenn
and they're weird
played
songs.
Parts.
They're weird rhythms. They're weird rhythms.
They're weird. Yeah. Oh, that's and that's not a slight on London by any means.
No.
New to the band, you know. But that's such an interesting jump from the solo Glenn Danzig album, where he's literally holding it together with like Scotch tape. It's like so bad. It's just he's barely keeping a beat, and then all of a sudden he's doing like boom. Like he's doing this like it's almost like hip hop on some of that stuff.
Really good. And actually, his drumming on this song, Black Candy, is really good.
Yes, it is.
The double kick on that is really good.
Yeah, dude. Really so he is a drummer. He knows what he's doing, like for sure now, but he wasn't always that way. Mm-hmm. He most certainly did not start that way, and yeah, I don't know, man. I think that in his mind, he's like, whatever, Bobby Steele, whatever, you know, there'll always be somebody else, but totally shooting himself in the foot.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I mean,
at the end of the day,
it is what it. I mean, the thing is, Doyle was a better convenience for the band, and he looked better, even though if he didn't sound better. I think, dude, this isn't like to make fun of Bobby, but could you imagine him on stage when all those people were going crazy? Like,
Bobby? Yeah, he'd have problems
during the what's it called, like the Boston show,
Channel Club. Yeah.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine Bobby on that?
It would be really tough for him. It would probably be tough for him, but at the same time, you know, Tony Matura, Tony, who'd seen the Misfits a bunch of times, when I was asking him about that on the show, he was like, actually, the first time I saw moshing was at an Undead show. So I guess Bobby was around it with the Undead in the early 80s.
Could be. I can't imagine it.
Dude, you know what A7 was like? A tiny little hole in the wall at Avenue A and 7th Street. I mean, do you think that Bobby had a lot of protection when he was playing, you know, Undead songs there? I don't think so. Like, I think he's probably like in the fucking chaos on some level.
Yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine it being as well handled as Doyle was.
He was durable for the music scene they were in, but I mean, at the end of the day, what's more important, like the way you sound, or you know, I guess maybe being able to operate a guitar is probably the most important in that situation. If you can't operate the guitar because you're getting moshed, you know.
The thing is, like, sound and image are so crucial for music.
Yeah.
You can't have one you can't have neither, but you need one or the other. And with a band like the Misfits, I think the image at that point, not like the Static Age era or the Horror Business era, at that point, the image was more important than anything because of the merch and stuff like that. And the whole, like, dude, they didn't play out often, you know that, during like 83, 82, 81 even. They didn't extensively tour. So they were more, if you think about it, even though they have such few studio albums, they were more a studio band than a live band in certain instances.
They really were. I mean, they played out in 82 and 83. That's when they really started to play out.
Extensively tour though, like
nothing. Well, they played out more in 82 and 83 than they did in 80 and 81. In 80, they barely played at all.
No, you're right. I just mean in the sense of like they were more a studio band than they were a live band
Yes,
in
I
the
would.
80s.
I think that's actually an excellent observation, one that I've never really thought about before. They really were a studio band, and that's part of why that's part of their longevity too, in that it's not just the image and the Metallica, it's the fact that they have material on that was transferred through all these underground networks like the Skateboard Kids network and, just, mixtape people trading mixtapes and whatnot. That is all a result of like, let's get in. And it's the same sort of philosophy of like, have as many, like, dude, you live in an age where you can literally broadcast to the biggest like market, even though it's like a sea of mediocrity. You literally live in an age where you could be constantly broadcasting content
Mhm.
to billions of people. And again, obviously, you're gonna find not even like one billionth of those people, but like you're still out there. You're on the biggest, whatever. You're in the biggest market that one could be in, but by putting yourself on YouTube. And so it's just kind of like, you know, it's so effortless and easy. We're doing it right now. Imagine all the effort that had to go into doing
Can't
that
even
same
imagine.
sort of thing for vinyl.
Can't even
Like,
imagine.
oh my God, like the idea, the vision to be like, we need to have records and we need, people are like, oh, he didn't friggin' know. He didn't friggin' know, what he was doing. It's like he totally knew what he was doing.
100%.
They knew what they were doing. They were creating a fossil record.
That's
You
why they
know,
did so many limited runs and stuff, because he knew.
yeah, well, he knew, well, that was just what he loved. He loved being a collector, but it's just like, I just feel like if you're gonna be a musician, you should be every moment like, and again, and I know you're a perfectionist a bit, but I also feel like being a perfectionist can like fuck you up in that way too. I've experienced that in my own personal work where, you just keep work. Like if I had kept working on 1979, it would have
Mhm.
probably taken me another year to just like really mix it and, work out all the kinks and actually make it like get it down to like 90 minutes and having it be something more than it is. It's like at some point you got to just like hit it and quit it and like be on to the next thing. And it's like, at what point do you, as an artist and your artistic vision, at what point do you sacrifice quality or what you're trying to do in order to get it out and get it out to people and focus on the next thing? I mean, you've
Mhm.
been pretty prolific in that sort of way.
I feel like you just have to know when to stop. Is when it's kind of like we were talking privately about like Quentin Tarantino. Like, it's basically with him with dialogue. He doesn't sometimes know when to stop. It's very
Right.
self indulgent sometimes,
Yeah.
but sometimes he hits the mark and it's like that's perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
For
sometimes
sure.
you could be too self indulgent and too everything has to be this way. You know what I mean? It doesn't. That's when it becomes not natural. That's when
Especially
it's
with mixing.
exact. Well, that's a big issue that a lot of people don't understand. You know.
I'm not I don't understand it from a music perspective, but I am like a mixing junkie when it comes to all the like, some of the video stuff that I do. And man, I've said this before. That's the one thing that Chud really taught me. He taught me about the boombox test. I didn't know what that was until I had met Chud about like taking your mix and playing it in a boombox. How does it sound? And I thought about it in a different way. I was like, how does it sound on a cell phone? That's where
Mhm.
I'm really mixing for it. Got to mix for the cell phone, got to mix for computer speakers, got to mix for a
Oh
TV.
yeah,
Fuck all the high end gear. No one has it.
you have to
Everybody's
do
gonna hear
multiple.
your stuff through this.
Hmm.
It's got to sound good.
You have to do it through multiple. Like whenever I give a mix note, because usually like with like running out of time, like Sean the mixer would send me a mix. I would
Yeah.
listen through the phone, through headphones, and through the car.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then
car's big. Yeah.
I take notes from the because sometimes, dude, it happens all the time. Sometimes vocals are louder on a cell phone as opposed to a car speaker,
Oh yeah.
and
Oh
it
yeah.
drives me bananas. It drives it. That's the most frustrating thing ever. You know, But it is
How
the
do you
thing.
split the difference? How do you split the difference? You know,
A lot of it, you have to just find that happy median. You know what I mean?
you know what's funny though? For you, it's different because you mix vocals are not supposed to sit on top of a mix in music. They can if you want them to, but that's not what you do. For if you're making a movie or a video and you're mixing dialogue, if you think about it, I mean, I can visualize this for you. It's like a layer cake.
Mm-hmm.
Your dialogue is here, your sound effects are here, your atmospheres and your ambiances are here, and then right down here is your music, unless you're using music as if you're using music to like punctuate something, or you drain the sound out of a scene and then replace it with music for effect, which you see all the time in films. And usually it's like a slow motion scene and a song kicks in. It's like, you know what I mean? Something like that.
What do you think? Let me ask you this. What do you think is visually the best movie from like the 70s that is still holds up today?
Sorry, say that one more time.
We're talking about like visuals and like audio. What movie, since you're a cinephile, which one from like the 70s still holds up today as like timeless?
From the 70s?
Yeah, because if you think about it, I think about this with Queen all the time, is like there's a huge jump in quality from the early 70s to like the late 70s. And some things really held up in the late 70s, some did not, with sounds, sonically at least.
I hate to tell you, man. I think there's so much. I mean, there's too many answers.
Really?
Yeah, because here's how I look at it. I think what you're trying to ask me, and again, correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you mean to say is what is a movie from the 70s that when it's remastered in 4K looks like it was shot today? Is that what you really mean?
Like, I guess so. Which one held the testament of time?
Well, I don't think. I think I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that makes what you're saying is making. I don't think what you're saying fits what you mean, in the sense of, because I think that's not. I think quality does not stand the test of time. Like that, those don't equate to me.
I don't agree. Like, I think there's certain albums from the 70s that still sound timeless.
Yeah, but it's just about, I mean, production stuff. Like, for instance, a great example. Look at like a John Waters film from 1973, like Female Trouble. Female Trouble was made for, a couple, like $20,000, $10,000, $15,000. It looked like shit then. It's going to look like shit now, and it's all based on, it has this really gritty feel. But yet when you remaster it in 4K and it looks like really clear and crisp, it looks to me, I mean, I don't know, it's like it's so subjective, dude, because like you have to think about it like this too. Someone might be shooting something on 70 millimeter, and then someone might be shooting something on 16 millimeter.
But that's what I mean. Like, I'm saying, I listened to News of the World by Queen. That sounds like it could have been recorded yesterday with the production. I truthfully believe that. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying now?
Yeah, what you're saying is yes, so I am right in what I was saying to you. I am right. But you just said to me confirms it. What you're asking is what looks contemporary from the 70s?
What stood the testament of time?
Oh, yes. Okay. So contemporary films that look like they could have been shot yesterday. I think Alien, for one. Alien really looks like is super friggin' crisp. I watched a 4K restoration of Alien, and that is it looks like it could have been shot in the last decade for sure. I think for sure, sometimes when I'm watching, there's certain scenes in Empire Strikes Back, like the newest restoration of whatever that was. I think it was 2011. Looks super crisp, man. That looks like it could have been made more recently. Again, it all depends too on just, it depends on how much money was in the budget. and it depends on how well it was remastered for a new release. I think those two factors will, because you can look at versions of Alien on VHS and you'd be like, oh my God, this looks like garbage, but once it's cleaned up and it's crisp and it's scanned in and it's in the right aspect ratio, because aspect ratios are different too. If you have something that's like in an academic aspect ratio or wide anamorphic
4:3 compared
ratio,
to widescreen or something.
compared to 4:3, yeah, it's gonna look a lot better. It's just it's gonna feel more contemporary.
I think Taxi Driver remastered looks like it could have been shot. Not aesthetically, obviously, because New York City doesn't look like that anymore.
But that's my part. That's exactly my point. Is that I see. Oh yeah. Right. That shouldn't matter actually, because it could be a period piece if it was shot.
Yeah, exactly. Like I feel like Taxi Driver aesthetically could have been in the Joker world, even though people compare them as like similar films. I don't necessarily buy into that it was a copycat, but I do think that like they look similar, even though
but that's what he was doing. He was trying to he was trying to channel Taxi Driver with the Joker, and
but I just mean that in the testament of like that it looks that good, Taxi Driver, that it could have been passed off as something today. Same with Michael Cimino's Deer Hunter. I think the Deer Hunter remastered, I watched a 4K version of that on a 4K TV, is insane. It's one of the most beautifully shot, especially the hill scenes where it's supposed to be in.
I think Jaws really holds up. The 4K restoration of Jaws looks like it was shot. Looks like it could be shot more recently. There are definitely films like that definitely have that feel. I'll tell you one film that really feels like it's from the 70s, no matter how well it's restored. Dawn of the Dead. I was rewatching Dawn of the Dead, and Dawn of the Dead does not look like it was made in this decade.
Yeah. You know what movies? It's from the 80s though. Looks like it could have been filmed yesterday. With the graphics are really good. Is The Fly, with Jeff Goldblum.
I could see that. I haven't. Last time I watched Fly was on 35 at the Alamo Drafthouse. So it was a real scratched up print.
Dude, that's such a good movie. That's a remake done. That's a remake done well. That's how remakes should be done, because they're re-envisioned for the time. You know what I mean?
Actually, I'll be honest with you. I feel that's one example where a great film. I'm sorry.
You're breaking up. Like it's all distorted. I can't understand. Oh,
hello.
You're good. We're
gonna have to. I'm gonna wrap this up anyway, Robbie, because it's freaking late. But the last thing I want to discuss with you. This is a great topic that you bring up.
It's breaking up again, Jeff.
Fuck yeah. Hello. Check. 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2 1. What about now? Hello. Can you hear me?
It's so distorted you can't make out what you're saying.
Hold on.
We're so close.
1 second. 1 second. We'll finish up like this.
Hello.
Hey, there you go.
Now I sound better.
Yeah.
Okay. So, great. It's gonna be annoying. How do I fix this? Maybe I do this. Bomber class. Hello.
You're good.
All right, let me just try and talk like this. Do I still sound distorted?
No, you're good.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. Let me try and talk. This is going to be hard because I'm repeating. I can hear myself. It's really hard to talk. All right. You know what? Maybe I'll just do it without here. I'm not going to be able to hear you for a second. I'm just going to talk so that way I can actually hear. I can actually talk, and then I'll turn it back up the volume so you can talk. and we're gonna wrap this up now because it's just this was it's amazing that we went for 2.5 hours. I'm shocked. So here's the thing about remaking films. I think that The Fly is an example of an incredible classic that was reimagined and surpassed. I think Invasion of the Body Snatchers is another example where the same thing happened. Great concept, great film that gets surpassed. I think, by the way, am I still okay? Do I sound okay? Give me a thumbs up. Okay, good. But I think the problem with most remakes are not an issue. The problem is you don't remake good films. Remake bad films. Okay? That's what you want to remake. Remake a really bad film that has a really good concept. I see them all the time. I see films that have an interesting hook. That maybe the production budget isn't like top notch, or the actor isn't right, or they didn't have enough money to finish the film. And as a result, it's flawed in some way, but it's a really cool idea. And so the thing is, like, could you imagine trying to remake Edward Scissorhands? It's impossible. You never could remake Edward Scissorhands. You could never remake Jaws. You could never, frankly, you could never remake Scream. You could never remake Jurassic Park. I'm talking about the original. I know they've done reboots, but I'm talking about the reboots acknowledge the original. I'm talking about straight from scratch remake. Try to remake Rocky. Impossible. You could never remake Rocky. Okay? That's impossible. So it's like, don't remake films that are great. Let them just be great, even if they're a little outdated or don't look contemporary the way you were talking about. Instead, find a film that is super flawed. Here's a great example of this, and then I'll shut up and I'll let you respond. Great example of this. Little Shop of Horrors, Roger Corman, 1960. Like, atrocious, trashy little, quirky little film that gets remade as a musical? Like, what? Who takes this weird black and white film from 1960 and remakes it as a musical? What? That doesn't make any sense. And the remake, the musical, is a masterpiece.
Yep.
It's a masterpiece. It expands on the story. It elevates the story. This is how you should remake films. So look for the films that are flawed and then improve on them. Give them to talented people to make better art. Okay, now I'm going to shut up here. Let me turn this back up. Hello.
Yeah, I completely agree. An example from this last year was Pet Sematary that did not need to be remade.
Yeah,
it was an okay movie, but why wouldn't I just watch the original? It's exactly the same, but with one death scene switched with a different sibling, with a different child. You know what I mean? Why would I want to rewatch Pet Sematary? And it's the same with it's the opposite. I'm sorry, with like The Mummy. That's another with Brendan Fraser. That's another amazing remake because it's reimagined for what The Mummy could have been in 1999. You know what I mean? And the original with Boris Karloff, like, I don't care about that. It's not really good. I mean, it's iconic. But
well, I like that film too, but there's room for improvement greatly.
Exactly.
Greatly.
And that's why I think like that's another remake done correctly. You know, Scarface. Originally, there's a movie called Scarface from 1920, 1930, whatever. That's about, you know, Al Capone as opposed to the time of 1980 where Cubans were flocking in. You know what I mean? It just makes sense to adapt to relate to people now, or at least to give something more. You know what I mean?
Yep. Totally.
That's why. You
know. Excellent answer, dude. I'm going to hold on. So I'm going to end this broadcast because it's super late and this is just this whole situation is fucked. I want to thank Robby so much for coming on. Yes, Rue agrees. I want to thank Robby so much for coming on the show. Wow, Robby, we actually did about 3 hours. I'm kind of blown away in total. You can watch part 1 of this conversation somewhere on the YouTube channel. If you enjoy this content, I keep forgetting to say subscribe to the channel, like the channel, leave a comment. Happy Merry Christmas to everybody. Happy New Year. I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas. I am so stoked about Christmas. I'm going to be enjoying it, eating some Chinese food and watching movies because that's what Jews do on Christmas. That's what us Christmas Jews do. So enjoy yourselves. Adam is asking that you've never seen The Crow, Robbie. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck?
I know.
Hold on, I can't hear you.
I know.
Now,
everybody gets on me because I haven't seen The Crow. I need to see The Crow. I do. I know.
So yeah, thank you, Paul. Merry Christmas. Sorry, I can't hear myself. This sucks. All right, so look, I'm just gonna end this now. Robbie, definitely come on again when I need another slot filled. I'll definitely hit you up in the future. Always good talking to you, man. And just have it. Listen, wishing you and yours a Merry Christmas. Okay.
And you too, man. Have a great one.
I didn't hear what you said, but I'm sure it was something good. I can't hear you right now. I'm just gonna end this stream. All right, everybody. Peace and hair grease. Ready?